Greetings, traveler. You've just landed on the Mikey and Me podcast. But fear not, for this is no mistake. No fault in the stars, no glitch in the matrix. I'm afraid this has all been planned, predetermined by powers known not to us. So pull up a chair and join us as we find our way together, for you are among friends. And Matthew is wearing a pink Tommy Hilfiger.
I was about to go play 9 holes.
I like it, man.
And I realized it was nighttime.
Tommy
and
Hilfiger.
I don't have clubs. And it's supposed to be recording.
You know, it's funny. I feel like that's something that hasn't come back quite yet. I could be totally wrong. I know all the polo is a big thing, but people not wearing Tommy Hilfiger. You might be ahead of the curve.
I think I talked about why I got a pink shirt not long ago for that funeral.
I think you did. Yes, that was right. That one person really enjoyed the pink.
Yeah, no, they
pink.
requested the loved one. So yeah, and it's a nice shirt. I was like, you know what, I need to throw it on.
Oh, and that's what you had gotten it for?
Yeah, that's the only reason I own it.
Okay.
Not that I wouldn't own it to begin with, because as Chris knows,
it's a fine shirt.
Real men wear pink.
Real men wear pink.
When it's
We've
a
known
fine
that from a young
Shout out to Les.
And it's a fine shirt. It's a great shirt. That's like I have a pair of jeans.
I mean, but that's a fine shirt.
Why, thank you. This is a very fine shirt.
That's
no
a
Kyle
fine
Larson, baby. That's what I'm
That's
talking
fine
about.
This
baby.
shirt,
I've got on my Pride Month shirt.
Yeah, I think Chris wears. This is like a penance. He puts this shirt on.
It is just, you know.
Mm-hmm.
That's yeah. I thought about it before I wore it. I was like, do I want to? And I was like, you know what? Fuck it.
Yeah, it's like if I got a report card, there's an F. I'm just gonna wear that around.
I'm just gonna wear it so that when I say horrible things about them, they know that it's coming from somebody who actually is a.
There you go.
Like
that's.
I'm not wearing a Steelers shirt. I'm not wearing a. I'm just like, no, you guys suck, and I'm a third generation fan.
Yeah, and I was gonna say about the shirt.
Well, outside, or we're not outside yet.
No, not yet. No, I know, not yet. I know where you're trying to go, but I was gonna say your shirt. It brought up to me. It's good that you still wear it, right? It's something you got. You had to buy it for something, and it's still useful. It's a fine shirt, so why not continue to wear it, right? I have a pair of jeans like that. And I had to buy him for my buddy's wedding. I was in his wedding. Yeah, and I was a groomsman.
And I had to
buy. No, they're like nice cowboy cinch jeans. They're like $70, something like that. And so I've worn them a lot of times after, because I mean they're a nice pair of jeans, right?
Yeah.
And every time I wear them, all of my friends that were there at that wedding or whatever.
Mikey,
all of my buddies
so nice.
That know, like, they look, because there were also a couple of them were in the wedding.
Mikey, package looking fat.
They'll come up and they'll be like, "Yo, dude, like those are." They'll come up and be like, "Yo, dude, like those are the wedding jeans you're wearing." And I'm like, "Why the fuck?" Of course, like, do you think I'm just gonna wear these jeans one time?
Other than me, other friends, those are wedding jeans. They called them out.
Because they knew that like we had to buy them for Cole's wedding. So they're like, they'll call, "Oh, you got the wedding jeans on." I'm like, I mean, so I'm supposed to just wear a pair of blue jeans once, like it's a dress. Like I'm supposed to just wear $70 jeans one time and not wear them again.
This is a genius tease for next week. What you'll be wearing.
I'll wear those with my cowboy belt. I'm going to wear the groomsman outfit.
No, but honestly, you need to wear those jeans and the belt. Last week you touched on the belt, getting a belt as a rec.
I did, the Western
Show
belt.
us why it's a solid rec by the Sporting It.
I'll show up in my full Western
trusting that you
gear,
will.
dude.
I really
Western gear.
I'll text you on the way here back turn back around if you ain't got that.
If you're not in your Western fit, and you know the thing that's important about Western fits is making sure that you match them to your climate. And it is 90 degrees in Tokyo, Japan, with a high of 91, a low of 76. But it's a sunny 90 degrees right now. Monday, though, it's looking at 35% chance of showers. So by the time they're hearing this in Tokyo on Tuesday, it's going to be 40% chance of rain.
We can try
Domo arigato.
Mr.
It's going to rain, Mr. Roboto.
That's good. I think that's a solid interpretation. I think it is. I really do.
It's a literal translation.
Onegaishimasu.
Oh, looks like somebody
we got a tired
Puggy no masa.
Yeah, no, that's good stuff. Good catch up. Chris wasn't with us last week. It's good he's back. It's good he's alive. Good Mikey's alive.
Still here.
This is the trifecta. We're here close touching things, and should we hit the big hit Did you see? I kind of came up with the new. Tried to come up with a new name for a little movie thing because film class. I was like, oh, that's honestly that was kind of for me. Exactly. It's not that fun, even though I like it's fun. But the word roulette was fun, so I'm flirting. Basically, I'm right now real roulette.
Real roulette,
like real film reel, REEL, real roulette. So I've made some little fun graphic things. So I like real roulette more. Because I like the gun, I like the thought of death and violence in the mix.
Oh, should have brought a revolver.
So it's real roulette.
We'll bring a revolver.
Yeah, so real roulette.
I'll bring my cowboy guns with my cowboy outfit.
Yeah, we can load blanks in there.
We'll bring a Virginia Dragoon.
Yeah, no.
We'll hold guns on here and watch.
Yeah, we'll load some blanks. We'll have a good show. We'll get Alec Baldwin to help us set it all up.
Oh my god.
I know it wasn't him. I know it wasn't him. It was the gun coordinator, whatever.
Have you seen? There's been people that have like confronted him in the streets, like holding a cell phone in his face, like, "Hey, Alec, you shot that
someone
lady.
Has a job. That's
I'm
their
like,
fault.
dude,
like, not me.
Yeah, right. I'm like,
not
man,
that
that's
works,
crazy.
buddy.
But also too,
people don't care.
But also too, like he kind of did do it in the wrong moment. He kind of like
it was a cacophony of events.
Yeah,
like
it was crazy. But either way, you know.
Yeah, because they were with the prop guns, like on the fucking set. Like
I don't know the details.
You don't know that? Oh, dude, no, they were using like the prop guns for like they would go out back like after filming and shit,
fun and
like shoot cans and shit when like putting live and so it's like that's part of like
bad practice.
Part of the thing with like being like the weapons person on the set is like you
don't
keep
even
that stuff. Yeah, there's no
happen.
live ammo around.
Yeah,
but they would do that.
The kids
like after
would
hours.
Run out back and put actual ammunition in there.
It was like we played this game Pirates as a kid.
Oh my gosh, that is so tragic and.
No, well, and apparently the girl that was the weapons expert on the set or whatever, it was like her first gig or something as one, and it was like it's been a little while ago, but I want to say like the details of it were almost like a nepotism type thing where like she had like someone family that was in the industry.
Like, you can manage and do this job. It's like.
And so it was just a really lax like as far as like nepotism.
Yeah, that's word. Like the word of that's like the that's like taking over like vibe. That's the vibe. That's the nepo. Giving total nepo vibes.
Favoritism.
No, just people like it's something that now is like I feel like. It's getting so
people
like nepo, like people being nepo babies or somebody being nepotism. It's like people. I think just because the shit's getting so out of hand, it's all in your face, and you realize so many of these people are like products of that. Like everybody, like all of the rich stars' kids are now old and they're doing shit, and it's like nepo baby. Like
there was that
Joey Logano, I think
that.
The NASCAR driver people don't like. I think he's kind of like a nepo baby.
I don't fault anyone if they're born into it, but that's just the way the world works.
There was that spot you're at, man.
Ethan, was it
you
like
can do about that?
Ethan Couch, maybe I think was the kid here in North
Texas,
the killer,
the affluenza, where it was like that was the fucking defense was affluent. He was like, what you mean like the yearly flu? And we were like, no, affluenza, not influenza.
Yeah, like, you remember how many? You imagine how many people were calling their doctors and stuff, making sure they didn't get the affluenza.
Yeah, that was so dumb.
I heard that.
But 1986 though, it's good. It's good to go. So
it's a good year.
Let's hit the movies, buddy. Yeah.
Okay, sure.
No nepotism.
Should we not? Should we not? I don't want to.
No, let's go. Let's roll right into it.
Okay, 1986 Roulette. A lot of powerful stuff. I don't know if would you like to lead the way?
No, you can. You can go ahead if you want.
I would like to. I'd like to hear what you have to say. Actually, I think it's more fun.
Okay, well, you're gonna have to give me a second to get settled.
Okay, then I can do it.
I was chatting.
Oh, here we go. Okay, cool. So I'll start. Okay, man. So this is one of those years, man. Once you start looking into it.
Oh, I know.
It's nice, but dude, I feel like I'm using the word banger too much, but honestly, like. Some power, just regardless of what you think about movies or cinema, blockbuster madness of
for real,
like
insane,
amazing quality blockbuster movies,
and it's like where it started for a lot of shit too, like where some stuff started. Do you want? I can go first.
No, go on, yeah.
So yeah, first movie I think that because I realize too sometimes I'll just go back and say movies that were popular and everybody knows about though. Yeah. It's like we need to be saying shit that people kind of maybe it was off the radar.
Yeah,
but there is stuff
we have something to say about. But
yeah, exactly. This is a movie that's just kind of like close to my heart in a sense. I remember watching this with my dad a couple of times and my grandpa. Hoosiers. 1986.
There's so many movies came out this year.
Daddy was actually watching that like a week ago.
Was he?
Yeah.
Dude, I love this movie. And I'll never forget like watching this with my dad and grandpa.
I remember seeing this on this is a movie that like they showed in school randomly.
R.I.P. Gene Hackman.
And it just being like just one of those phenomenal movies. Dude, yeah, that's a whole thing to talk about too.
Yeah, that's fucking weird.
Yeah, that's a lot of weird shit. Hey, kitty.
Like Hoosiers, Chariots of Fire. They got like big athlete movies to see.
These 6 individuals have made a choice to work, a choice to sacrifice, put themselves on the line, represent you, this high school. This is your team.
Hoosiers. They needed a second chance to finish first.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the championship game.
You're not the new coach.
Are you expecting somebody different?
Bring back the skirts like that. Just a little above the
Well,
ankle.
those of you who don't know, my name is Norman Day. I coached college ball for 10 years, but it's been 12 years since I've blown this.
Yeah,
The illustrious history of the Indiana High School basketball tournament.
That's a hell of a team.
You knew that team?
I know everything there is to know about the greatest game ever invented.
Dude, from
With a pint size hardly big enough for 3 syllables, Hickory Huskers, enrollment 64.
Out of here. Right now. You kicking me out? Yes. Don't come back until you learn to keep your mouth shut and listen.
Take on the defending state champions, the mighty Ferris of South Bend Central.
Run you off the boards. You got to squeeze them back in the paint. Make them chuck it from the cheap seats.
Already calling this the game of the century.
I've seen them, the real sad ones. They sit around the rest of their lives talking about the glory days.
Those people all over the Midwest
very, very good
to witness Hoosierland's version of the Cinderella story.
It's got to work out this time. That's it for good.
The starting lineup for the Huskers.
Well, my boys only know basketball, farming, and school.
A basketball hero around here is treated like a god.
You know, most people
That's a slow clap, dude. They're doing a slow clap.
Definitely
started slow
one of the movies.
Forget about the crowds.
Started the slow
Size of the school.
Clapping.
Their fancy
really?
I'm just
And
guessing.
remember what got you.
I'm trying to think of scenes.
You put your
Probably
effort
one
and
of the
concentration
pioneers of
into
the slow
playing to your
clapping
potential to be the best
That's
you
a
can
good
be.
point, dude.
I don't care what the scoreboard says at the end of the game. In my book, we're going to be winners.
Let's win this and for all the small schools who never had a chance to get here.
I love you guys.
Gene Hackman, Barbara Hershey, Dennis
How big
Hopper,
this movie was, maybe this was like
Hoosiers. They needed a second chance to finish first.
Hooters.
No, the solid one. That's a
Hooters starring Dennis Hopper.
Chris, we're above that.
Dennis Hopper was nominated for an Oscar while in rehab for this movie.
What a fun story.
What a fun little story.
Hey, you gonna kick that habit? We hear you're nominated. You hear, buddy? You got nominated for an Oscar. He's like, I smoke more drugs, bro.
Gene Hackman clashed frequently with the director and nearly walked off the set. He was frustrated with what he felt was a weak director. You're a weak man.
I think
later
Hackman
admitted
was a
he
very
was wrong and
professional
praised the film later. So yeah, that's an interesting little fact about.
Yeah,
the
I can see
movie.
Gene Hackman being difficult to work with.
Yeah, but I think he probably demanded people to show up to work, or not even perfection, just be professionals. To show up to work and just show up.
True stories. This is a movie. It's actually this is I feel like going to be a double dose 5-slicer.
It is.
Yeah, and you can find this one on Tubi. To be honest, it's a great movie. Cinematography. You know what it reminded me
David
of?
Byrne,
A lot of the
Talking
shots.
Heads. He directed it. It's basically Talking Head leader of that band. His movie. It's not a concert movie, basically. So it's
a great crossover. Great hats
off
to
you guys were saying that. Hoosiers
hats off to that
was
man.
A true story.
Oh shit, my bad.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, Hoosiers never happened.
No, this movie gives me vibes of like what's it called, Paris, Texas.
Yes. Yeah, definitely.
That's like
whatever they're shooting in.
Like it's like whatever color they're shooting, whatever film. I don't know.
No, I feel
that. There's something about it. I feel like even Paris, Texas.
The Paris, Texas vibe of just being such a slow, meditative film that this. I feel like David Byrne was trying to present or talk about the idea of just things changing, but what's happening to these slow areas, you know. Yes. So this part of Texas, like it takes the whole movie takes place in Texas, like embracing the small town nature of life and things before it all gets commercialized and changed, or at least just like just being aware of these differences. So it was really cool, and it's it's non-offensive or anything like that. It's very friendly. It's a very friendly movie. John Goodman does a great performance.
It almost looked like AI in the very beginning whenever it was like him and John Goodman are walking through like the bus station or whatever, or the mall, and it was like, I'm like, dude, like John Goodman's so young and everything. I was just like, this is crazy, because it was filmed so like, that's the thing about it. What I mean about why it looked like it was AI, because it looked so new in a way.
Yeah, but it didn't look like they're walking around in North Park Mall.
Really?
Yeah, because I was watching the movie and I saw a scene. I'm like, I think that's North Park. So I immediately looked it up, and it's like, yeah, they were in North Park, but on the outs. They shot some scenes on the outside where they actually outside of
that makes sense though.
Big town for outside stuff, because they're showing like in
that actually makes sense though, because directly across the street from North Park Mall is like the Caruth farm, and I actually have a picture in my phone of like, so across the street there's now it's Tom Thumb, Cheesecake Factory, Barnes and Noble, all that. When we were kids, you probably don't remember it, before all that shit got built, that was just a giant fucking field. Like from Northwest Highway all the way over to Caruth Haven, and then what's the cross street right there that cuts all the way through?
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
But either way, like literally that whole block now right there is it's townhomes and everything. There was one. Now. It was the Caruth farm.
Yeah, okay.
And I'll have to show you the picture later on where it's like literally right there at Northwest Highway and 75.
Kind of what you're talking about, just seeing parts, just being able to see parts of an area before.
It's like
before they changed.
Yeah,
and he remembers some of it.
Oh man,
I think he's lying now.
I remember so much of that.
Here's a trailer for True Stories.
Hi, my name's David Byrne, and I made a movie about a bunch of people in Virgil, Texas.
David, relax. Relax. Remember to look up into the camera.
They're getting ready for the 150th anniversary of their state. They're calling it a celebration of specialness.
Something's happening here, all right. The world is changing.
It's created confusion.
Chaos.
Do you run out of Kleenex,
a couple
paper
steps
towels,
above
and toilet paper
our
at
buddy
the
Shane.
same time?
I think Shane
What
might
time
be
is it?
most.
No time to look back.
I feel like him and Shane get along.
I want someone to share my life. Marriage is a natural thing, and I'm a natural man. I love the women. Hey, there's more to life than this job.
Hello, I'm Louis Fine, and I'm looking for matrimony with a capital M.
The way it talks about technology and computers and stuff was pretty cool too, right?
It's fancy driving, all right.
Even referencing Steve Jobs in '86.
Not only driving, but parking.
Yeah, it's North Park right there.
Bunch of maniacs out there. You know how hot dogs come 10 to a pack, and buns in packs of 8 or 12? You gotta buy 9 packs to make them all match up. That's what I'm talking about.
crazy just seeing the bricks. It's like, yeah, that's North Park. Yeah.
But this place is completely normal. Anyway.
Well, if this is being nuts, then I don't ever want to be sane.
It's a good flick. It definitely brings you good feelings come with this movie. If you still want to feel a little better about life and things, just watch this movie. Yeah, it should put you in a good mood.
All right, we don't have to watch the trailers for these next two, but it is 86, so they have to feel like it has to be mentioned. We got to mention some of these movies.
Yes,
Top
sir.
Gun. Top Gun was the movie of 1986.
Yep.
Big flick. And
Tony Scott, Ridley's brother, directed one of those earlier Tom Cruise films that helped.
Stand By Me.
Oh yeah, Stand By Me.
Stand By.
Is that James Olmos in that one? I think. Or River Phoenix in that one.
Or no, that was. Because you're. Stand and Deliver, I think.
Stand and Deliver is the one I think.
This is the one where he was the teacher.
Yeah.
Stephen King.
With the kids.
That's probably
Will Wheaton, River Phoenix.
Yep.
Yeah.
Corey Feldman.
Yeah, you're talking about Stand and Deliver.
Yeah.
Yep. Because I was like, I was thinking the same thing. I think
Corey Feldman, the comeback kid.
Yeah.
Shout out Corey Feldman.
Shout out Corey Feldman, man. Keep making that music.
Text the wife. Heavy Pugs trying to make an escape.
Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
Right.
Oh, Ferris.
Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
For me, the movie holds up, man. I really think it's just what it does. I'm sure it could be annoying to some people, but I feel like it's a pretty quickly execute the top. It does get slow for a bit.
Matthew went to high school.
There could be like 15 minutes that they take out of that movie, and it would probably be perfect.
I was gonna say, like, my thing about it is I think I did like the movie. I remember watching it like, shit. It was one like rainy day at the house, like back when we lived in Waco. Like I remember the first time I saw the movie, and I really enjoyed it. I was like, okay, this is a really good movie. This is a classic. And then it was like
you're like 12.
I saw it.
This is what you're thinking,
huh?
No, you're probably like really young the first time, right?
Oh yeah, I was probably like
Waco,
I was probably like
no, I was just making jokes saying. Like a little kid's thing, yeah, this is a classic. But you might have, actually. I don't know.
No, but I mean, it was just like, you know.
You can
I
tell
knew that, like, when I watched the movie,
up.
I knew watching the movie, I was like,
understand
oh, okay,
why
this is a
people talk
good
about
movie. It wasn't just like
Yeah.
some shitty movie. I could still, you know, it was like, it wasn't.
Yeah, but it
total
sounds like things
retard.
changed.
I mean,
though.
he was the youngest growing up, right? You know, it's like all of us. Like,
So he actually
always
did grow up a
watching
lot
shit,
quicker because
like,
all the
yeah,
but so
like-
but it sounds like things you feel differently about it though now.
Yeah, because I was just gonna say, to me, it's the best I can compare Ferris Bueller's Day Off like to something else musically would be Queen. I think it's just fucking played out. I've seen it too many times, heard it too many times. It's been quoted too many times. It's been
That's a good.
It's been
that's
like
a fair
parodied
assessment.
too many times. It's been Bueller. It's like all of the. I love the movie though. It's great, but
Its
then
popularity ruined it for
eventually the main dude,
Matthew Broderick.
Yes, eventually he kind of just became like it. It got to the point where it was just annoying. Like,
Yeah, for what it's worth, like that's the biggest thing that actor's ever. I mean, he's been in other stuff, but that really is the highlight of his life.
Yeah,
but for what it's worth, I think for that to peak so early, that's honestly fine because again, I think that's how good that movie is. But it is so good that it becomes annoying.
Exactly,
and played out.
it's amazing. It's got so many great scenes. It's got bow.
Yeah, I think it was John Hughes. I'm pretty sure too.
Yeah. And then whenever he's fucking like driving the car back home in reverse or whatever, like trying to get his girl back, like get her out of school, like calling sick, like he's picking her up. It's a fucking great movie. I'll still sit down and watch it, but if I'm being honest, it's just kind of like
he just got played. Yeah,
Ferris Bueller's.
Understandable.
But interesting thing about that, the famous parade scene in Chicago wasn't fully permitted. Director John Hughes shot it guerrilla style.
There we go.
During a real parade, and later choreographed the dancers around the footage. So
making notes for when we do our parade scene.
There you go. Yeah, parade scenes are important. You gotta have notes.
Goodness.
For them. Next movie on that list. This is.
You just got all right. I love it when you read a movie and you start laughing like that before you even say it.
It's a good movie, but it's like it's also there. It'll make you laugh in parts when it probably. I don't necessarily think it was meant to make you laugh.
It wasn't intended.
The Golden Child.
Oh, the Eddie Murphy film.
Eddie Murphy.
I've never seen
Child.
it. I know about it.
That was in
86.
80s.
I mean, yeah, I believe it.
Mm-hmm. 1986, The Golden Child. I have it right here in my notes.
Yeah.
And then let's see.
Did they remake that in the 90s? Because I could have sworn that he did one in the 90s that was...
I don't think so, man. I think you might be...
I could be...
You might be living in a simulation.
Yeah, some Mandela shit going on or something.
I've never even seen it. I just know about it. I've seen the box art.
86 is close to 90.
No,
I guess you round it up. It's
about...
I mean, it's like,
I mean, the further you get away, you're like,
if you use the rounding rule, you'd round it up.
See,
but I don't know if I would say it's close.
It's close, dude. 86 is close to 90.
Dude, for people with that mindset,
86,
does me
87, 88.
It's like whenever I was
this
is
is
sports,
4 years, dude.
Sports station random thing. They talk about, Kevin Durant's a 7-footer. No, he's 6'9". Don't round up 3 inches, buddy.
Yeah,
you round it up. You keep going.
Yeah, it's like you'd be better off saying 6'5".
Yeah,
you know, like when people see him, be like, man, he's way bigger than 6'5".
Yeah, exactly.
Heartbreak Ridge.
Oh man,
never seen it.
Fucking
feel free to
tell me about it.
Feel free to play any kind of. Yeah, you can pull one. Might as well.
I actually learned something about this movie.
What,
the other
Heartbreak
day.
Ridge?
Yep.
Yes. Such a good movie. It's an AK-47. Makes it very the weapon chosen
I know
weapon of the enemy.
Nothing about this movie.
Oh man.
Sergeant Tom Gunny Highway, Congressional Medal of Honor winner, over 30 years in the Marine Corps. His battles never end.
I think war's just been declared. Why don't you just sit there and bleed a while before you taste some real pain?
Ayatollah of rock and roller.
Shut your face, hippie.
You say hippie, man? Ain't been no hippies around here for centuries, man. You been freeze dry and doing hard time.
That's funny. So this was maybe the first big movie where Ken Reeves basically
bad whiskey, bad sex, and bad men. I never
career.
You didn't talk dirty like that when we were married.
Always. Only you were never there to hear it.
Or some
I asked for Marines. The division sends me relics.
You men do not. Recon platoon kicks butt. Ow. God, you ladies think you can slip and slide. You're gonna start acting like Marines right now. Who invited you? I'm not doing this because I want to take long showers with you, and I don't want to get my head shot off in some faraway land because you don't habla, comprende?
Gunny, my weapon's jammed.
What's your name, Marine?
Lance Corporal Forgetty, Gunny.
It's funny too because there's a lot of stuff.
Kids.
There it is.
This is the AK-47 assault rifle, the preferred weapon of your enemy, and it makes a distinctive sound when fired at you. So remember it. Strip off those t-shirts.
Makes me feel like Quentin Tarantino and
Same as me.
Brown.
How the hell are we supposed to know what
You improvise, you overcome, you adapt.
Yeah.
Now get off those damn t-shirts now.
If you watch, if you watch this and then go back and watch Major Pain, there's lines from this that are in Major Pain.
How do you figure?
Okay,
there's a bunch of.
I say he improvised. He cheated. He adapted. He overcame. I'll put my life takers and heartbreakers up against anyone, any place, anytime. We're going to war, man.
It's comedic as well,
but it's like a dramatic.
It's him basically going in. Like,
with all due respect, sir, you're beginning to bore the hell out of me.
He's a
Clint Eastwood, Heartbreak Ridge.
He goes to court. He ends up
doing this with the
a
Damon
bunch
Wayans
of kids.
more comedy.
Yeah, but those were fucking recon Marines.
Yeah,
but this was during the Cold War. They didn't have anything to do. There's actually a scene in that movie that I just learned the other day, where if you haven't seen it, I won't tell you exactly what happens, but somebody is killed or whatever. There's a scene where somebody gets killed, and the actor I don't know if it was that he didn't have a lot of experience. He was nervous about it, whatever. Clint Eastwood ended up going and getting the actor.
He actually shot him.
Took him for a walk. Like, it was like, hey, dude, let's just go for a walk.
Oh.
They end up going, like, for a walk and just bullshitting. And then on the walk, they basically walk up on the scene.
Okay.
And it's like, go. And
that's cool.
So it was like, so it wasn't a situation where they were, he was in front of a bunch of people, and it's like, okay, now you got, this and that. And it was a scene where it was supposed to be this guy, this actor, it was supposed to be, he had just killed somebody for the first time, and they wanted that genuine reaction.
That's cool.
And I honestly
don't
remember
the walk and everything. That's
but
cool shit.
So what they did was they set it up. He took him because he knew the guy was nervous for it. He took him out for a walk. They had the whole thing set up basically already.
Yeah.
When they got there, he
it's
like walks up on it
type thing.
And kind of like the Godfather type thing and they end up getting a really good scene out of it.
Honestly, I feel like the bigger thing is that this shows too. Whenever you're making a movie, even paid actors, you might come to points where like they're not executing, so you figure out a way to capture them somehow executing.
Yeah, exactly.
And you manufacture the situation. What's you got next, brother?
So, look, a couple of quick notes on this movie that we just took a look at, Heartbreak Ridge. Eastwood is famous for being one of Hollywood's most efficient directors. Heartbreak Ridge was shot in just 52 days, with many scenes done in a single take.
And
like that
scene.
The efficiency helped keep the film's budget low. Let's see. Real military veterans praise the movie's grit despite inaccuracies.
No, the shit they got right was way more important than the shit they got wrong.
Mario Van Peebles.
Yep.
This is somebody y'all brought up. That's why I was saying it. He had never acted in a war film. Van Peebles, who played
after that,
who played the flamboyant wannabe rock star, quote Stitch.
Flamboyant.
Yep. Was a bold casting choice. His character was entirely fictional, and Van Peebles later said Eastwood encouraged him to just be as real and modern as possible.
It actually might have been
creating a stark contrast with Eastwood's old school
Van
ways.
Peebles. It might have actually been Mario Van Peebles in that scene.
We have Clint Eastwood to thank for the ravishing career that Mario Van Peebles ended up having.
It's like, shout out to everybody. That actually, this is the most that anybody has said that name.
Mario Van Peebles.
We've said it 7 times.
You're the one who wanted to bring up. It's funny because Solo, he's not a big. Either way, that's cool though. Like
Heartbreak
speaks to
Heartbreak Ridge was a real battle, but not for the Marines. The film's title comes from the 1951 Korean War battle at Heartbreak Ridge, which was primarily fought by the U.S. Army, not the Marines. Clint Eastwood's character is a Marine who fought there, which added to the real-life military confusion and criticism of the film's accuracy. And the Marine Corps did not support the film, apparently. So there's more to be said about that, but
they're too pussy.
That doesn't surprise me because of the way they portrayed. Like, what those guys were, those were 0321s, like recon Marines, which like recon Marines are. I mean,
very
all
hardcore
Marines.
stuff.
All Marines are fucking
very
Marines,
hardcore.
but like those are like your like hardcore. Like your fucking,
they don't want
like,
people to
special
see that and
forces,
think,
like
oh, that's what it's gonna be like because
that-
this could be harder than that.
But the thing about it too was that it was
Yeah.
like that movie was also what year are we in 86?
86.
So you're right in the middle of the Cold War. We had just come off of like
there's
Vietnam.
any number of reasons
There
for the
was
military
no-
to
Yeah,
support or not
it's-
support a movie. So it's but it's cool, good stuff.
Top Gun, little snippet on that. We had brought it up earlier.
Oh, Tony Scott,
No, well, little snippet fact, after the release, U.S. Navy recruitment reportedly increased by 500%. The Navy even set up recruitment booths outside the theater. So I know I had told you guys that. But,
it's
an interesting little.
It is.
It's like
the power of movies, man. The power of films.
And so the last film here that I have for you is one of my favorite movies. Go ahead.
Have we talked about it already at all?
No.
Okay.
I don't think so.
Just go. I probably won't guess it.
The Color of Money.
Oh, okay. Really? Okay.
Really
Paul
love it.
Newman, Tom Cruise.
Paul
the
Newman,
sequel
Tom
to
Cruise.
what's it called?
To
Scent of a Woman.
The Hustler.
The Hustler. Yes.
Which is the movie we covered whenever that came out. Remember?
It is.
And that was pretty cool. So I'll pull up this trailer.
Yeah,
then.
pull up the trailer of The Color of Money. I really love this movie. This movie, for a little bit, I was like, wait a minute. I could technically I think I was pretty good at pool. I'm still pretty good at pool. But for a period of time, I was like,
It's one of those movies that makes you think you want to
him.
go out there and play some.
I could get the Balabushka, and I could drive around the U.S., and I could hustle my way around. Me and Cole had a whole plot, dude.
I believe it.
If
It's the beauty of.
I dedicated
beautiful.
some time to it.
This is a great intro touchstone.
All human. Tom Cruise in a Martin Scorsese picture.
He's got the eye, he's got the stroke, he's got the fleet.
Vincent's the best.
We got a racehorse here, a thoroughbred.
Yeah, for real.
You make him feel good, I teach him how to run. I'm not your daddy, I'm not your boyfriend, so don't be
All the right moves.
I'm your partner.
And Top Gun.
I think there's this movies like I know all the right moves. Might have been like once in one. But yeah,
I love this.
It's such a good movie, dude.
You're an incredible flake. But that's a gift.
Love or hate Tom Cruise. I like him, and he really does represent something.
Yeah.
In the world of film and Hollywood. Whenever he dies,
I got half a million.
Oh,
something
dude.
huge is
The best
dying.
thing that I ever
Yeah.
seen. A half
That
million
he's
says
fights
it just ain't worth it.
Dude, and some Hollywood like filmmaking.
I was gonna say he really is. He's like it's like talk about for the love of the game. Pretty much.
Yeah.
It's like dude is like a consummate professional. He's like
he's
yet to mail it in almost.
Yeah, and just
It's like
style
every single
movies and
performance
everything
he
that goes
does.
into it,
Yeah.
the realness of it, and practical things, and
he does such a good job at playing. Like in this movie, he did such a great job of playing a character where he's like, you really wanted to grab him by his fucking jacket and slap him. Like in this movie, you wanted to.
It's like, bro,
you're being an idiot. You're being a fucking idiot. Like, you know, the Paul Newman's character was trying to teach him like how to hustle and how to do it right, how to stay on the radar.
Kid who
Exactly. And so it's like, dude, it's such a good movie.
I'm glad you mentioned that.
Shout out to our buddy Ron Hubbard for
Elron, dude. Shout out to Elron for, you know,
the most prolific author in American history.
for clearing his energy.
Yeah.
Or world history, actually.
Yeah,
He's written more books.
That dude has
than
written
anybody.
more books. That is insane, dude.
He keeps
It is,
Tom
but
Cruise
Dude, he's
doing
the
it.
original
not-
ChatGPT. I think he found ChatGPT before anybody else.
Because a lot of people write a book and they refine
guy's
it,
name is
and they
Ron.
spend a lot of time before they
Bro.
put it out. I think he just wrote things the
Oh,
first
yeah.
time he wrote them.
His
Publish
first
it.
draft.
Publish it. First
Yep.
draft,
Publishing
everything.
rough drafts.
Yeah. Yeah, so I don't think there's much to be
I don't
impressed
know.
with there.
I think dude found ChatGPT before anybody else.
Yeah,
And he
pretty
was just
much.
Like,
He channeled ChatGPT and
he
just
was just like, bam.
bullshit.
Do you think
Hey,
they
here we
channeled
go.
it? Do you think they channeled it through Tom Cruise's middle tooth?
Have y'all seen the Tom Cruise eating popcorn clip recently?
No.
It might be worth pulling up if you want. I mean, it's up to you if you want to have a laugh.
I really don't feel like getting this.
Okay, that's
Is it
fine.
worth-
You don't
is
have
it
to.
worth-
It's funny
I'd
because
kinda
people
like
are like,
Okay.
people are just. It's funny because people are. It's on YouTube. You could just type in Tom Cruise eating popcorn, but it's kind of hilarious just because of like how he's doing it. People are like, "Who the fuck eats popcorn like this?" Like, it's honestly pretty funny. Like down there, yeah, that one. I'm like, bro, he's aura farming. He's just, like, look, watch. Look.
Everything he does is to the extreme, dude.
Bro, he's a fucking. Look at him, dude.
Why does he look like Bret Hart?
Yeah, dude.
Like
he's
Bret the Hitman Hart.
Look at this person. He's like dropping it on the floor. Looks like a freaking dinosaur. Bro's aura farming, dude.
Like there's something very
Giga
caveman
Chat.
about that.
Dude, he's a Giga
Like
Chat.
maybe like a super efficient toss into the mouth.
That's how I eat Skittles.
Yeah,
but like,
Skittles. You got to keep
them
moving around.
Yeah.
If you don't keep the Skittle moving around, you do it in your hand.
It's just funny to get.
Yeah.
Like
but that's it. That's all I got, Matt. You
Yeah,
like
it is funny.
Motherfuckers
It is
that eat
funny.
Skittles like that, shake them before they eat.
It is funny. If he wasn't so famous to be, you could film the way people eat all sorts of stuff. That's freaking theirs. But no, Tom Cruise.
That was funny
watch
there.
The way you
that
eat,
was
buddy.
kind of absurd.
Yeah.
Like eating popcorn like that. Most people just kind of do the technique of like this. You just kind of grab. You kind of do like the claw, like the arcade claw, and you just grab a little.
It's really an awkward food to eat during.
Yeah,
and
he's
not
there.
being interviewed though.
No, he's off to the side. He's about to get like assed up on stage or whatever. He's in a movie
He's just
theater
enjoying
for the
a little
premiere,
bit of popcorn,
and he's just like.
Poor guy can't enjoy a
And
little
people
popcorn
were like
without
flaming him all over the internet, being like, "Who the fuck eats popcorn?"
He's
Sorry,
like
Tom
a
Cruise,
multi-millionaire. That's who.
Yeah.
No,
I
billionaire.
love it. Like I said, he's aura farming, dude. He's like, I'm not like
Tom,
any
I
of
love
you.
it, buddy.
He's like, I'm not like any of y'all.
Would any of you like a diagnostic?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
Go ahead.
Well, so like, okay, it was a big year. So I'll probably start off with with one of my favorite movies of all time. I've got there's 2 books there. I've got a Xenomorph over there on the shelf. I've got comics you can't see.
Oh, you moved the Xenomorph.
Yeah.
Because I was like, the Xenomorph
So
had been
I'm a personal very much big fan of the aliens.
Yep.
And so we'll have to start off with arguably, easily, defensively, one of the greatest. action... greatest sci-fi, greatest movies across genres. But if
Dude,
you
I
just
was
want to talk about an action blockbuster that's sci-fi and literally like action and horror, like it really is so many things that movies like this rarely exist. Like there's other examples of them, but they're rare. And this is still like a gold standard. And James Cameron's follow-up to Terminator, which, remember we talked about that and how cheaply he did that. It was almost like an independent film what he pulled off. Then he gets able to direct this and with a huge budget, and still the execution of that, it's mwah, mwah.
Yeah.
So, Aliens.
Chef's kiss. This actually got brought up at work last night.
I need to grab another drink. I'll let Potato in.
Yeah, you can let the putty over. Modern trailer. No, I just want to see the original trailer. Aliens. Original trailer.
Red Band.
19. Come on, use tubes. Alright, there we go.
Or just
Just tell me one thing, Burke. You're going out there to
Yeah, I definitely
destroy
watch
them,
this again
right?
this week.
Not to study,
I'll probably watch this movie
not to bring back,
at least 20
but
times.
to wipe them out.
That's the plan.
Paul Reiser. He's mad about you.
Dude, he gives you the SNL that he was on where they did a skit, Mad About You Aliens. They actually did a skit, Mad About You Aliens, whenever he was hosting SNL once, dude. It was great. Where he's in love with an alien in the park of the sitcom.
That's funny. I never realized why my dad disliked Bill Paxton so much. But the new character he played in this, and then
He's just an annoying punk, dude, yeah.
and everything. He was like,
Game over, man. Game over,
man.
We're all gonna die. Michael Bain. I love Michael Bain. James used him. Cameron used him. The Terminator.
I got signals. I got
there.
readings in front and
A few
behind.
things. I wish he had a bigger
back
career.
here. Look, I'm telling you, there's something moving and it ain't us.
Probably one of the most iconic sets of creatures. Yeah, and just creatures. Like, that creature is so iconic. Like, put on everything. Like, you see it, you just know, like, that's the...
That's H.R. Geiger.
Oh, yeah.
Did that.
Like, that thing is so insane.
It's like,
it's so cool.
And honestly, like, the whole idea of a badass female lead, Sigourney Weaver, that's where it starts.
That's a good point.
That's where it starts. And honestly, I don't know if anyone's ever doing
this is it. That's the problem with female leads.
Sigourney.
They try to make them marry fucking Sues.
This
just
time,
like
it's war.
Either way, but Sigourney, this is the original. This is the gold standard of female lead in 86
in a movie.
So we're talking about
that was totally believable.
1986.
Such a good movie.
Yeah, dude. So that's
it's funny too. Even the
there.
name of them, like xenomorphs, where it was like that. It's become synonymous with, like, when you think of like an alien, you think of. It was like, I can't remember how old I was before I realized that they were actually called xenomorphs. That they weren't just actually like aliens.
Oh yeah,
that's what
Yeah, I was definitely.
It was like such an impactful.
Over 18, probably whenever I realized, they actually have a whole term.
Yeah, they had like a name.
And in the lore of it, it's crazy. They would have like neomorphs and stuff, but the original was xenomorphs. But yeah, dude. Next one,
definitely.
It's a little movie. This movie won Best Picture, got best
Commando 86?
got Best Director.
No.
I don't know if the screenplay got it too, but Platoon.
Yes.
So good.
I rewatched it for this. This is, and honestly, I'd never actually sat and watched it all the way through because there's so many war movies. Like, I love my Full Metal Jacket and things.
Dude,
for whatever reason,
this is better than Full Metal Jacket.
I didn't go around to giving this a legit chance. So this exercise, the first legit chance I gave it.
Yeah.
And I wasn't let down. And I dig deeper and actually learning more about Oliver Stone and his actual military history and all these things and actually being in them. So I was like, okay, I didn't realize he was actually there and then made this movie. That gives me a whole different depth to somebody who fought in this freaking war making a movie.
Yeah,
that's worth seeing. That's worth seeing because
fucking legit.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's an amazing movie.
It might actually.
And dude, and the number of actors in this movie is insane. You'll see faces you recognize so much. You're like, oh my gosh.
Yep.
I remember
Charlie
this movie being like the first war movie. I remember really
fucking.
I remember watching it and being like, okay, this is like the legit war movie of Vietnam.
This movie does the picture this paints of the Vietnam, the whole jungle warfare stuff.
Yeah. No,
I can't think of another movie where it lives in the jungle, because
when he's falling asleep on
movies where they're out of the jungle. But this movie is freaking in the thick the whole time.
That movie when he's falling, or the part where he's falling
Charlie
asleep.
Sheen?
Yeah.
Dead Presidents would be the only other one.
Dead Presidents is amazing.
But that's from
not
10 plus years later.
Yeah.
But this is probably as far as the jungles,
kicking other
shit
people's asses for so
Vietnam
long.
War movie.
I think it's time we got ours kicked.
If you could only watch one,
just the beginning.
Dude, Willem Dafoe.
He's
another one that's he's such a goated actor.
If you're gonna get killed in the Nam, it's better to get it in the first few weeks. I don't even know what I'm doing. I'm so tired. I think I made a big mistake coming here.
It was the first casualty.
We're going back into that NBA bunker complex tomorrow.
You smoke this shit to escape reality. I am reality.
Yeah.
Well, there's the beast.
Yeah, that guy.
He hungry tonight.
Saints Row.
Shut up! Curse the pain!
And there's
Don't sleep on no fucking ambush.
Lieutenant.
John Depp.
Talking about.
Forgot.
You didn't know what I'm
Johnny
talking
Depp,
about.
William Dafoe, Tom Berenger,
What you peek.
Dr. Scrubs, that older guy. Oh yeah, Charlie Sheen's the main character.
I know.
Forrest Whitaker.
What's his name?
Yeah, from Scrubs.
Yeah,
Scrubs.
Scrubs.
That guy, I don't know, but he's been in a bunch of random smaller roles. Forrest Whitaker's in here too.
Dude.
Star-studded.
Yeah.
Maybe I finally
fucking understand
the mud. When I'm done here, I can start up again. Be something I can be proud of.
He's a human being, man!
Chuck Sheen. Black man.
The stars. There's no right or wrong in them. They're just there.
I don't know, brothers. But I'm hurting real bad inside.
Death? Well, you all know about death. Everybody gotta die sometime. All you got to do is make it out of here.
It's basically what they're making fun of. Tropic Thunder. That's
Hell is the impossible
100%.
reason.
This might be trailer of the year.
It's a good trailer too, man. That's a good. That's powerful trailer.
I remember when this movie came out, just seeing the movie poster for it, just the word Platoon with the dog tags is the double O.
That one, yeah, dude.
Or whatever. Like,
that's badass.
I mean, I was fucking 3.
Oh, dude, yeah, that's crazy.
Or no, 86. No, I would have been 6.
Very young.
No, I'd been 3. Yeah.
And Big Trouble Little China. Big Trouble Little China.
Little China, Big Trouble.
John Carpenter.
China.
I made a little clip from this on our Instagram, just showing a little scene of the fun. This movie is like comic book brought to life like no others. John Carpenter's. We were just talking about him the other day about he's a cool genius. Come on,
yeah, he's
smart enough.
I got in some little trouble in Big China once. Oh, Lily. You watch this movie from your homeland? You want to watch this China movie? Yes,
Oh, yeah.
Here, come here. Come here. We're watching this China. Yes, we're watching this movie from homeland.
Good job.
This is Jack Burton in the Pork Chop Express, and I'm talking to whoever's listening out there. It's a pretty amazing planet we live on here.
Gotta
A
love
man
a
would have
Peter
to be
movie.
some kind of fool to think we're all alone in this universe.
There is a hidden world where ancient evil weaves a modern mystery.
What's going on here? Is this some kind of
Magic.
No,
The
I think it's a long
magic. They call it Little China.
Finally,
That
we shall
scene
bring
where they're in the
order
alley.
out of
Yeah,
chaos.
that's fucking
It's where Big Trouble was waiting for Jack Burton.
That's the grandpa
Jack
from
Burton.
Three Ninjas.
Me.
Yeah.
Light up the eyes, boys!
They told him to go to hell.
I need punch move.
And that's just where he's going.
Somebody, I don't care who, tell me what is going on.
I was thinking great.
Yeah.
Back. Soundtrack.
I have no idea.
Like, to think that he does all this, like, is just insane. That cool.
Unanswerable questions, even in a life as short as yours.
My destiny rests in your capable hands.
Hey, I'll do my best.
It's cool, like, because he did so much work, but to see the sense of humor that he can have.
Yeah.
This movie really lets you see that, too, you know?
No, yeah, Salazar. This was Kurt Russell was his favorite actor, and this was his favorite movie. So you used to call him Kurt fucking Russell.
It's gonna take Cracker Jack timing, Wang. 1, 2, 3. We may be trapped.
Total concentration.
Safety. Yeah.
Yeah,
You ready,
they
Jack?
nailed that scene.
I was born ready.
That fucking tech jamming on him.
Way to go, Jack.
Jack Burton's coming to rescue your summer.
Hey, what more can I get?
That outfit is iconic.
20th Century
Right, dude.
Fox presents Kurt Russell in John Carpenter's Big Trouble in Little China.
It's all in the reflexes.
Yeah.
There you go.
Matthew.
Yeah, and some other movies I won't go to share, but Blue Velvet, we've talked about before, that came out in Labyrinth. Labyrinth was my favorite.
We gotta watch the preview for Labyrinth.
There we go. I'm glad
Because that was a Nathan movie.
That's true.
David Bowie. I never really watched it, but I do remember Nathan.
I love it 'cause
I do remember Nathan talking about Labyrinth.
He definitely loved it, and I love David Bowie. So,
And I love
Jennifer Connelly is his first big role. She's a teenager.
She was like 6.
She's a teenager. She's a high school. She's older sister. You jerk. You can tell she's become a beautiful woman.
Whoa, calm down there.
TriStar Pictures announces the collaboration of three extraordinary talents. Jim Henson, creator of the Muppets.
The puppet school
TriStar.
The Jim Henson puppet. Dude. It's wild, dude.
George Lucas,
so cool.
creator of the Star Wars saga.
And the soundtrack. With old Dave Bowie. Duncan Joe.
And one of the most innovative forces in
movie
modern
on drugs.
entertainment,
Oh, yeah,
David
no,
Bowie.
Definitely a movie you probably enjoy more on drugs.
Fushigi!
Jump magic, jump.
That was Fushigi, dude.
Power of the Bay.
And adventure.
Bro had Fushigi
That was
in 86.
A world where anything seems possible, and nothing is what it seems.
Shinogu.
Yes.
I move the stars for no one.
I do love David Bowie, man, so much.
The world of Labyrinth.
Glad you wanted to watch that show.
I had
yeah,
two
buddy
for,
Nathan.
had two
Definitely.
for Nathan.
Definitely.
It's like every time I see like that movie or anything about it, I just
Yeah,
think about him.
Solid.
Because I've never actually seen.
Well, it looks like you need to watch it, but
maybe not.
But yeah, so there's so many movies come out the year, but we touched on the ones. The trying to think of thing you else you need to talk about before we move on, but definitely so many that just go back there and you can
check it out.
randomly do it. Before we move on, we need to real roulette for the next
Yes,
time.
spin the wheel because we always forget to spin the wheel in real time. We forget to spin the real wheel in real time.
We just forget. I should just have this sheet already pulled up so that we can actually check this stuff against it. So do that first. Mikey on me. The log.
Then we'll take a quick break.
Yes, sir. Sounds like a game plan. I'm just getting this little log up here. And then... Why you be so slow? Random number.
No, you want so slow?
1995.
Oh.
We haven't done it. Going to the 90s, buddy. 1995.
Oh, dude.
So we've got 3 years left in the 90s. 95, 94, 92. So 95 is next.
I feel like there's a Batman movie that came out in 95. That
I think that's like Batman Forever, probably.
Yeah, but I think it might... if it came out this year, if not, it was the year before.
What year were you born?
Shit, it might come out this year.
What year were you born?
84.
You were born...
It might have, maybe.
11.
It's right around this. But yeah, 95, this would be a lot of fun for that one. And we shall take a quick break and we'll go around back.
Oh, yeah. Welcome back, travelers. I hope you enjoyed that little pit stop here. And now we're going to be taking, that pit stop was, that was Percolation Station. We just stopped at Percolation Station right now.
He avoided the trough because last week
I did.
He stopped there and he saw the kids playing around there.
I got a little uncomfortable at the trough, man. Matt, I'm not too comfortable with the pee trough anymore.
Yeah,
Matt installed the pee trough.
I guess not well, but you teach
but that was a fun little movie episode of the. Oh, there was a movie. I forgot. I always say it. I watched it. It was on Tubi. I showed y'all the cover art. I was trying to. Yes. And it was actually good.
Yeah,
Black Moon Rising.
Black Moon Rising.
Come on, we gotta.
Tell me about
let's see. When the government hires a master thief to steal evidence stashed in a supercar, a smart auto thief swipes a supercar. Stashed in a supercar. A smart auto thief swipes the auto, and it's a race against time. And the race against time begins.
Tomford Lee Jonas.
Black Moon Rising. It was good. Old Tommy Lee. It's funny whenever you like how you said earlier about how is this the movie that Clint Eastwood just kind of kept playing this character the rest of his career. It's kind of seeing people earlier on in their career. You're like, what movie? But it probably could go back before this.
Yeah, and it's always it's like we watch these people so much.
Yeah,
it's like thinking
Ryland Enterprises
about this shit they're doing.
Chairman of the board,
actors that
Edward Ryland.
Daddy would be like,
his business,
that guy, blah, blah, blah.
transportation.
You think about it, and it's like
illegal
that
transportation.
is bad. It's
a good movie, though.
Oh, it's a wild trailer. The way they did those quick
The last
cut
time someone
frames.
took something from him, they turned up.
You guys see that? Obviously, you did see it.
Snap.
He got hit.
He got hit.
Mr. Ryland just made a big mistake. He took
That's the guy
something from this man.
RoboCop.
Sam Quint.
Or no, might be.
For a second, but I don't think it's him. Is that Giorgio Moroder doing the soundtrack?
It's a good movie. It's techy. And for the time, it was probably like, whoa.
Sounds like Giorgio Moroder, dude.
What, who directed it?
No, the soundtrack.
Oh.
Sorry. Let's see.
Sam Quint is coming for the Black Moon. From the mind of John Carpenter. Black Moon.
Look at that.
Rising.
John Carpenter did
John Carpenter soundtrack, dude.
It's awesome. Dude.
John Carpenter joint.
Yeah, dude.
Dude.
Yeah, I bet he hung out with Giorgio Moroder, dude. I bet they've hung out.
Oh, probably. Had a couple of cocktails.
Yeah, they're good stuff, dude. I need to watch that.
Dang, that guy looks familiar, dude.
I know, isn't that funny? I didn't even want to dive myself in that thing so much, but the exercise of like figuring out how to do crap, that I just ended up being like the focal point. But I'm making another one that has no humans in it at all. This could be really weird.
Damn.
Why'd that make it look like Vega?
I go all over the place. No,
Vega
dude. Have you not seen this?
No, Chris
No,
hasn't.
saying you look like Vega.
Oh yeah. Like it looks so funny. But yeah, so
you look
what's
good,
next,
dude.
dude?
You look good.
Before
it was like
the camera
like Rainbow
AI makes you look perfect.
Before you got all Juliet Caesar salad.
AI really makes you look
Give me that
perfect,
goddamn milk.
Yeah, AI do be making you look good, dude. AI gets you slim and trim. You gotta see you got any tips.
Yeah. Last week you were teasing on stuff, man.
We tease a little bit. We tease a little bit. But yeah, no, the teasing was upon organized crime and how potentially organized crime can keep out how it can kind of keep a control on the smaller, lower level crimes that often are now getting really overlooked by law enforcement. That are in those crimes largely affect, it's like the everyday working person. It's like you work your 9 to 5, you leave your house, for
Property
fucking
theft
5,
or,
exactly. You're leaving your house for 6-7 hours a day, every day. And then you come back home, somebody broke in or somebody stole something out of you forgot to close your garage door. Now your shit's stolen. Somebody broke in your house.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's like, so.
Bullshit that if you call the police, they're going to be like, the fuck are you calling us for? People are getting shot. Like,
yeah. And so it's like a lot of that crime, that goes on now. It's like, it's all just that stacking on top of the workload of just your average everyday police officer. And I just think it's interesting that just having, it's like I've talked with like my dad, had different conversations with my dad about, just like him and one of his friends about the mob's involvement in Las Vegas with gambling, with illegal gambling and stuff, and like on football and things like that.
Yeah.
And I've had conversations with other people in different,
What do they say? Like the older people, I guess, obviously.
Well, it's like just they were more or less saying that it was actually happening. A lot of this stuff, a lot of this corruption, and a lot of this corruption happened. Whereas it's like, me growing up, being born in '91, and like I would hear about this stuff and just kind of think, okay, that's for the movies.
Did they say like really they felt like, I guess they can't compare, but they felt safe?
What, talking about it? Or
the point you're talking about not having as much crime, like
yes,
can they attest, can they vouch for that?
Yeah, so in the case of my uncle, yes. When my uncle Larry brought up the topic to me about that, about how whenever I can bring it up, but I believe it was Ralph Lamb was the sheriff there during that time. I have a little bit of
go for it.
A little bit of internet research pulled up on the subject, if I can get it to. But
it's like making mind map on organized crime as they're talking. So to people, so keep going.
Okay. Let's see. During the height of the mob influence over Las Vegas, the sheriff there between 61 and 79 was Ralph Lamb. He was like referred to as the cowboy sheriff, and that's who was there when my uncle Larry was living there.
The sheriff is an elected position as well, correct? That's the one where it's like you don't necessarily true. And so it's like what the sheriff says, like, people like don't necessarily understand like the law enforcement hierarchy nowadays, but I feel like the literally like sheriff is one of those things that it's like if you're the sheriff, you got a lot of pull.
Yeah, because the people picked you. You're voted on.
Yeah.
And so this guy was the sheriff or whatever.
Yeah, Ralph Lamb was the sheriff during that time when which like Uncle Larry had told me some stuff. And before we get to that, I'll kind of tell you what I have here on Ralph Lamb. And it said he had both supporters and critics. Some saw him as a lawman who tried to keep the mob in check, while others believed he had a working relationship with certain organized crime figures. Lamb's tenure coincided with the operations of mob-affiliated casinos like the Stardust, the Tropicana, and the Riviera, which were secretly skimmed by criminal families from Chicago, Kansas City, and elsewhere. So it's like, some people looked at it as like, okay, he's working with them. Other people were like, no, he kind of, he's keeping them in check, whatever. Yeah. It's like he's not a friend of them. And then it says, the mob didn't officially, quote, control the city government or law enforcement, but had a deep influence over the casino industry through hidden ownership and legal skimming of casino profits. Notable figures that of this era include Frank Lefty Rosenthal and Tony Spilatra.
That's
from
Joe
Casino,
Pesci.
Right? Yeah.
Joe Pesci and Goodfellas.
Yeah, whose activities? Yeah, I was gonna say whose activities were dramatized in the 1995 Casino movie.
Okay. I haven't actually watched it all the way through.
And we're gonna see that because that's this next movie. That's 95.
So that tells the story of what we're talking about. What am I missing, Chris? I know there's some scenes in there, but
no, it's just that movie. That was one back in the day when I used to stay up all night.
Yeah, that was
one.
Like
that Scarface.
Yeah,
and Goodfellas, because they're all like
Goodfellas. Never got through Casino.
Movies.
Yeah,
but like, bro, it was like any night. It didn't matter. Like you could throw one of them on, and they were all like,
yeah. So, going further on the crime rates, I tried looking up what crime rates were back in the day. So before I get to that, I'll again I'll go back to what I had mentioned before, I think in the last one, and I talked about my Uncle Larry. And Uncle Larry, again, he had lived in Las Vegas my entire life. I always remember Uncle Larry living in Vegas. Exactly.
Like I think Uncle Larry lived in Vegas.
So since they moved out of 60s. Since they moved out of Carolina when they were young, they came to Dallas, and by that point, I think Larry had gone into the military. He was like Clint Eastwood.
Your dad's side?
He was like Clint Eastwood from Gran Torino.
Okay,
but he was also like a really sweet guy.
Okay.
But his outer appearance, and he really looked like Clint Eastwood.
Sounds like a badass.
He was a cool dude, man. Uncle Larry's a cool cat. But no, it was like he lived there for years, and I remember him like on like his second to last visit or something like that, where he's a little bit more talkative, stuff like that. I mean, he was still talkative on his last ones, but I remember him
talkative as Uncle Larry would be.
Yeah, and so
Smith being talkative.
Well, no, he was his.
Like I said, he was like, what's his name? He's the Cooper.
Okay, so he made a few words.
Yeah, exactly. And he was always very crass. But then again, later as I grew up, I realized that like he was trying to be funny. He made a joke. It was like he was joking.
He was reaching out.
Or he was actually like, there was one of the times I got upset when I was like 18 or 19, and I realized, oh fuck, Uncle Larry was like trying to joke, and he told me later, he's like, I didn't mean to upset you. I was just trying to. He's like, when I said that, I'm sorry if I. And I'm like, no, that's my bad. I didn't realize.
Man,
I didn't understand your humor. And I was like, I didn't get your humor. My bad. Like, but Uncle Larry was awesome, and he was telling me about the how, because he experienced Las Vegas over all the different years, and he'd love to tell me about Las Vegas and stuff like that. And again, we're going to kind of use Las Vegas as that's what kicked us all off in my mind, because I had this story and this idea in my head, or this concept in my head, that was given, place there by this conversation with my uncle.
Yeah.
And in this conversation, he was more or less saying that back in the early days of Vegas, when he had first moved there, he was saying that it's like that was during the days of like that dude Tony Spilotro.
Yeah.
The dude, it's like during this mob control time, and Ralph Lamb was the sheriff there.
Okay.
The guy that I just gave you a little bit of brief history.
He was literally the guy in. I think he might have actually literally been the guy in the movie Casino when he goes and sits down with Sam Rothstein. And he's telling him about the kid. He was like, I understand that he's whatever.
Yeah.
It was like, maybe you could give him a position a little further on down the trough.
Yeah.
I think that might have actually been
Ralph Lamb,
the sheriff, because I think I could be wrong.
Yeah.
Or like it was a nod to him, or like people that were connected.
You could probably find if he's represented. Yeah, you can see if Ralph Lamb's represented in the Casino movie. But yeah, it's like so he had kind of told me about how during this time, how there was just virtually no crime. He was like talking the crime in the sense of stuff that.
So like 50s, you didn't have
60s, 60s to like the 80s, 60s, 79. Like, because then by the time he was, this was 90s when he was telling me this, to 2000s. This was 2000s.
Okay.
When he was telling me this was the 2000s.
It was a.
But here he's referring to the time he was referring to was the early days of Vegas when he first moved there, but in the 60s, the 80s, around there.
Yeah.
Because he was saying about, again, he was like, and I was like, what do you mean? Asking him about it. He was like, you could leave your front door open. It was like, it didn't matter. He was like, nobody would come into your house. He was like, nobody would steal your shit. And so, he was just saying that like all of the low level type of crimes were just almost non-existent. Like you didn't have to worry about getting robbed. Pretty much,
the bad was taking care of the bad to keep.
It was like the scene in Gangs in New York when John C. Reilly grabs the guy's pocket watch and he hangs it on the pole. And he was like, isn't it going to be somebody's going to take it? And he's like, nope, safe as a bank. And walks away, just letting them know. It's like, people know that it's like, don't fucking touch that.
Yeah.
Like, he set that watch up there as an example that it's like, nobody's going to touch it.
Yeah, they don't want the heat. They know who controls this. There's people that will stamp down on them that don't have the rules of the law. So that's how it can be a tighter ship that's run,
Damn it, where did my researchers go? I know. You find it?
Yep, I found it right here. I found it in this.
Okay, here we go. Sorry, I had accidentally exited out of that. Okay, here we go. Okay, so yeah, I tried to find crime rate and stuff like that during the time, and it's kind of hard to exactly nail it all down because they weren't really keeping tabs on a whole bunch of shit.
Yeah, and who knows how well they kept records of all that.
Exactly.
Right?
So general crime trends between the 1960s and 1970s. Overall violent crime in Las Vegas did rise, especially during the 1960s and into the 1970s, in line with national trends. So it wasn't necessarily any outlier. It wasn't anything. It was kind of in line with the rest of everything else that was going on in the country. More people being born, more people around getting into
this is the thing where, like, even stats, you watch enough cop shows, that even they tell a story, but the real story is if the people who live there, and if people actually say they felt safer, that's like the truth of the environment,
And so right here it says, however, street level crime in the casino areas remain relatively low. partially because the mob had a vested interest in keeping the strip quote clean and and safe for tourists. Organized crime related murders, disappearances, and intimidation did happen, but were often
for the right reasons.
But were often unreported or unsolved.
Yeah.
That told you probably had some law enforcement involvement if they were unsolved as well, potentially. Don't want to try and throw any allegations,
it's
but you
one
would
of
have
those
to
things
assume
where you want to keep the machine working efficiently, and
They're
sometimes
talking about the term like 86, where it's like 8 miles out, 6 feet under.
Oh gosh.
So mob enforcers.
That's where 86 comes from.
Like they're 8 miles out, 80 miles out, 6 feet under.
Well, because I worked in the restaurant industry.
Well, no, and it is a term in the restaurant industry as well. No, I know, but
it's
that's one of those things.
Okay.
But yeah, no, because that's where I always knew it from too. Was like the 86 the tomatoes,
we're out
or some shit.
Tomatoes,
But yeah, dude, it's like it's also like a
interesting
mob lingo thing.
Yeah,
it's like 8 miles out, 6 feet under, 80 miles out, 6 feet under, whatever.
So what you got there, Mikey?
It was pretty much saying low property and tourist crime on the Strip, petty theft and violence are relatively low in the casino areas compared to the other parts of the city. The mob enforcement, the mob enforced its own order to keep tourists spending money. Let's see.
So yeah, that's that term Pax Mafiosa, whatever that I learned about. That's basically like the umbrella term for the piece that comes from the like mob organized crime.
And one of the things that kind of like, again, it's like a conversation I had with somebody on my recent trip. They were telling me about a guy named Danny Owens, and Danny Owens was like a strip club king.
Yeah, you're talking about this guy
in Memphis, and he more or less, he ended up getting locked up. He ended up getting locked up, and there was different, reasons around. There was a main reason around why he ended up getting locked up, but it's kind of one of those things where it's like he wasn't playing ball. Almost, it seems like, and so it was like, we're not going to help you out. There's a lot of speculation, but
they probably on K, and that just shows there's a corrupt system in
pretty
place.
Much
that
what
they
I
were
can,
hoping to play with.
Pretty much what I could sum it up to is like the movie. Go watch the movie War Dogs, and when they don't pay the people who box up the ammo, they could have paid the people. They saved money. They saved like $300,000, and they didn't pay him even though it's like they saved $300,000 by scrapping all the wood boxes and going to cardboard.
Yeah.
But then they wouldn't pay the what's it called? And they got snitched out. So don't watch the movie. I ruined it.
But or like
war boxes. But war boxes.
Or just you just don't tell a federal judge to go fuck himself.
So there's exactly. So there's a lot of things, but man, there's it's interesting because like it just made me think about the fact of it's like we think that we always feel like we're advancing and we're getting that we're eventually just gonna. I feel like some people have this idea, or it's this like. Almost on crime, we're getting to the point where we're just ignoring crime.
Well, I'd say it's like the idea of talking about in the mob level. Do we think that translates to the gang level, to all the other iterations of it? Is it's kind of like a universal approach that we're saying? You know what I'm saying? So it's like it's safer when the mob. The mob was its own presence, but obviously we live in an area where it's not mobs, but there might be gangs. But I think there could be potentially the same effect.
I was just going to say that I think that we've always had, and then I'll shut up and y'all can go with it where you want. But I was going to say that the majority of people, I feel like we have this idea that we're becoming above certain things that we used to do. Each year we go along, each decade that we progress, that we're, quote, we're progressing. We're getting,
fence got put up.
We're getting, exactly. We're getting away from being savages and these corrupt people. It's like, yeah, back in the day there was corruption and people used to pay off cops and judges and stuff like that.
Nobody
that
ever
doesn't
got held
happen
accountable
anymore.
for it, and
It's
we
like,
just
but
don't do that anymore.
Nobody does that anymore, right? And that
Yeah.
stuff. And then we think that, and so we always think that that's going away, right? We think that all of this other stuff, and so I feel like people think that we're just going to get to this utopia type existence where we're not committing crimes and stuff. And I think that people will always be committing crimes.
Yeah.
People will always be stealing. People will always be doing that, right?
Yeah.
And it's like, and I'm not saying this isn't necessarily it's
human nature.
This isn't me protesting or supporting. This isn't my support of organized crime, but it's a recognition that, like, okay,
Mikey running for capo.
Maybe you actually have to have this organized element of these people, because at the end of the day, they're the same. At the root of both of them is like the same thing
evil,
makes them tick. But the one of them is organized and one's unorganized.
It's why you don't squash a spider in your house.
Unnecessary evil.
He's eating other bugs and shit.
It's like you see the spider, and you're like, that thing could fucking bite me, like, or whatever.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't want an insect in my house.
Mm-hmm.
Like, fuck that spider.
It's funny you bring that, because there's a little spider that was living in our bathroom we don't use much in the corner. And so Stephanie, like, don't kill him.
Yeah.
Because I've been watching that spider for weeks. It just lives there.
Yeah.
And
he's just minding his fucking
doing
business.
its own thing, and I'm sure it's taking care of business for us.
And it's like, it's not pretty. You're not like, somebody comes to you, it's like, oh, fuck, what's somebody going to think if they come in the house and they got a fucking spider, web chilling in the whatever.
Yeah.
He's a contractor.
But it's like,
I don't have fruit flies. It's like, I don't have fruit flies.
Yeah, I don't have fruit flies. I don't have.
Who's your bug guy? Actually, I'll introduce you. He lives right up there.
Exactly. It's like you got a spider in the corner, and you got a crow out there that brings me trinkets. So,
no,
totally self-sustained.
But it's a good point. It's like it's a good analogy to kind of help put it in perspective, where it's like, it's not. And again, it just made me have the realization that it's like, what if, and not only just what if, I don't think we are on our own capabilities by our own devices. There's other things that could help a person to rise above those devices. There's other things like that could do that, but outside of that, there's some people that are just
powerful words,
almost not reached or whatever, or they still either way they're still going to proliferate due to the crime.
People are born. That's why when there's certain people
like
that are certain ways, I feel bad for them more than just like want to be mad at them, because they're born into a reality that basically dictated that they can come out. It doesn't justify it at all. Like if they make bad decisions, but it didn't make it easy to naturally make good decisions.
No, 100%. Like I totally get that. But yeah, it's like, I don't know. I've known a lot of people from really rough situations that like never turn to that.
Yeah.
And like we've been through some really rough shit that like where it's like damn near a statistical anomaly.
The thing is though, I was
You're
gonna say
outliers.
the
outliers.
When I was gonna say the reason that we've turned out the way we are is we've had good parents. We've had good examples of human beings in our lives, while everything else around us would have been more or less
viewed
as if it's like on paper, ideal. Just looking at the environment or how you had to live and day to day and stuff like that. It's like, okay, these people are headed for one path. But the fact that we had good people in our lives, good parents that were by our sides and whatnot, that's what gave us this ability of like discernment and understanding, understanding that like, okay, this is what's right, this is what's wrong, this is the path I need to walk, like this is what I need to do.
Yeah.
But there's some people that they're brought up feeling like that they are, they were screwed over at some point, and this isn't their fault, and you got to take from everybody else.
The being, what's the mindset of being Agency of
Locus of control.
Locus of control.
Locus of control. Was this outside? It's like, as something else affected me. It's like,
am I a victim or do I have agency to
exactly.
control the narrative?
Yes. Exactly. It's a great callback right there. And yeah, it's, but again, I had the thought and I realized that it's like, again, look at it, like I had brought up before when we had teased the episode about Saddam Hussein. You killed Saddam Hussein. I'm not saying that Saddam Hussein was a good person, but you killed Saddam Hussein.
Saddam Hussein's a good person. No, I'm joking.
No, but
nobody's
he kept the region in check, and that was the whole thing with like, I mean, they had Saddam in their crosshairs in fucking, what was it, 91, 92, like Desert Storm, Desert Shield.
Yeah, they could have handled it.
It was like, if they wanted to, well, yeah, they had
Bin Laden back then.
They had Bin Laden when they were chasing Carlos the Jackal. When Billy Wogue was chasing Carlos the Jackal in where was that? It was somewhere in Africa back in the late 80s or early 90s, because Carlos the Jackal was a Colombian terrorist that was like
I don't even
bombing planes and shit. The movie The Jackal with Bruce Willis was loosely based
on him.
off of Carlos the Jackal. There was another movie with what's his fucking name from Domino?
Mickey Rourke?
No. No, the
Tony
other
Scott
guy.
movie.
No, the other guy, the
Choco?
Mickey Rourke's buddy.
Choco?
Yeah, what was his name?
Oh, I don't remember.
But I think that actor actually played Carlos the Jackal in whatever it was. But either way, it's one of those things where like the U.S. had eyes on Osama bin Laden.
Could have done something
like
about
92. But the thing was, you're not going
to.
But
would speak
to Mikey's point, that's a whole different.
Not do something.
That's a whole different tangent. But to Mikey's point, where it was like they could have taken out Saddam in 92, whatever. It was like, we could have done that. But the thing about it is it's the devil you know versus the devil you don't know. And so it's like, while he is evil, he does do all of these things. It's like, we know what he does, but he also keeps this whole fucking region in check, where this is very much a region of the world that respects strongmen.
It's like
and so if you take this person out, you immediately create this power vacuum, and in a section of the world that respects strongmen, you create a power vacuum, and they're ultra violent, like ultra violent plus strongman plus like what takes over, and so that's why they didn't take him out initially in Desert Storm.
Yeah.
In the early 90s. Then we go in, we take him out. Then you see what happens in Iraq and all that with ISIS and everything else.
And then people splinters off into all these things, become big monsters in their own regard.
Yeah, people like him in the mob are more or less like, they're like king snakes.
Yeah.
King snakes are not venomous. A king snake, if it bites you, it's not going to kill you. It is going to bite you, and it's like, fuck, that hurt, but you're not gonna die. It's not. It has no venom, but it will kill venomous snakes. King snake can kill a rattlesnake.
Fucking eats
King snake will kill. King snake will kill like any other snake. That's why they're called king snakes. They're called king snakes because that's the thing.
What do they look like?
It's this. Oh, there.
Like
Look up if you want to look up
Google king snake.
I'm gonna grab a beer.
Yeah,
that'll be a perfect time for me to grab a beer. I'll be back before you have that.
King snake,
Yeah, no, they just swallow them up. It's kind of gay.
God, that's fine.
The fuck? Where'd you get that?
What
from?
is that, boys?
That's a oh no, it's a king.
What's the whole yellow, black?
No, what?
Red touches black, friend of Jack.
No.
Red touches yellow, kill a fellow.
Red and
But
yellow.
technically, red and yellow kill a fellow. Red
The
touches
black, friend of Jack.
But the king snake is
So
which
that's
one?
coral
Yes.
snake right there on the first.
So which one's the king snake?
That one and the one to that's a speckled. There's different species. That's a speckled. Like click on the speckled king snake. That one. That's a speckled. Cool. And again, they won't kill you. They won't fuck with you. They're not gonna like. It's not a problem for you.
Having around.
Yes. They won't kill you.
They'll kill every other snake.
But like, so one row down and to the left.
Right here.
No, that one. Where that looks like a rough ass snake.
Yeah.
If I saw that snake, I'd be like, that's
But yeah, exactly.
That's one of them pow snakes, I think is what they call them.
But now this is not to be confused. Now, real quick, since these look like this, type in the Texas coral. No, type in the Texas coral snake. And your chances of seeing one of these are really low.
I've literally
your
never seen a coral
chances
snake
of getting
in
bit by one.
The faker?
No,
is this the poisonous one?
This is the bad one.
Look, red and black.
Yeah,
this is a bad one.
Like it's painted, like the danger of the snake is literally painted onto it.
This one will fucking kill you. So that's why I wanted people to see that. That's why I wanted people to see the Texas coral snake. The Texas coral snake will fucking kill you.
It won't kill you.
Like, no, you wonder why like red and black are so.
The coral snake will. That's red touches yellow.
Well, I know that. I'm saying he was like they won't literally like. Their venom is. I don't know that. I mean, obviously, like unattended, you get bit by one.
Well, yeah,
it's like you're in fucking trouble. But the thing about it is, I want to say that that coral snakes are from the same family as cobras, which are, I think they call them eliphads or elipads. It's a word that I've read. I've never heard it pronounced. But so eliphids,
ELAPID.
Yeah. So you have eliphids and you have vipers.
Yeah.
So vipers have fangs that retract in their mouth. So they reach out, the fangs come forward, they strike you. They're like hypodermic needles.
Yeah.
Cobras, coral snakes, elipads, whatever they're called, they actually like chew. So it's like they don't reach out and like strike. It's like if you get bit by,
they're freaking munching on you.
Well, no, it sounds to me like if you get bit by a coral snake, you need to be fucking trying to get bit by a fucking coral snake.
Yes, I was gonna say getting bit by them, it's extremely low, and that's what I was gonna say. Anti-venom exists, but is but rarely used because bites are so infrequent. Because again, I understand like. This is. I just didn't want to show the king snake, and then people see a coral snake and be like, "Oh no, fuck, let me touch it. These are fine." And then let's see. It's a highly venomous snake. Texas coral snake is a highly venomous snake native to the southern United States, particularly Texas. Its name suggests. It's one of the few elipids, as you said, snakes found in North America, closely related to the cobras and mambas. So it is closely, Oh dang, RIP.
Yeah. Shout out Caitlin Clark, the white
Texas coral. Shout out Caitlin. Texas coral snake is highly venomous, but bites are extremely rare. Because the snake is reclusive and tends to avoid humans.
Telegraphs that I'm about to try and bite you.
Yeah. It says anti-venom is rare because bites or anti-venom exists, but
you have to be an idiot so that you still get bit by the snake.
Coral snake venom can cause respiratory paralysis if untreated. They will fucking kill you.
So it does. Yeah, it was like
they are.
If it's, they're part
bad.
of the cobra family. It's like
definitely immediate medical attention is required for any suspected bite, even if symptoms are delayed.
Because they would have neurotoxin, I guess, the same as cobra would. Whereas most of like your North American vipers are going to have hemotoxin.
Now you gotta get bit by this snake first. I don't want to see.
Snake face. It's like whether it attacks the brain or the blood. So these attack the brain.
But yeah, so either way, all that to say, we started talking about snakes because, just the idea that it's like realizing that, hey, we have snakes among us. We have snakes among us, and
rats and snakes.
Some snakes bite everybody.
And some snakes only bite other snakes.
Exactly. Some snakes only bite other snakes.
There's the snakes.
And so it's just an interesting thing to kind of think about. And also it's a reality of just, I think, coming to grips with reality is the thing. Realizing that, like, facts. Yeah, and realizing that, like, okay, I think that it's like we're repeating the same cycle again and again.
Yeah, forever until the end.
Learning
pretty much.
Or it's like, it's honestly just
to become more refined. It might look a little
coexist.
different. There might be different packaging, but the same things are occurring. The same will and intent is behind all the action.
That's like with I think it was Marcus Aurelius, the quote where it was like a man that lives, like if a man lives 40 years, he's seen all things. Mm-hmm. So it's like meaning just that life in general is cyclical. And so it's
history
like
repeats itself.
At 40 years, you've been around long enough to be like, oh, wait a minute. Like, not only have you heard the stories of other people being like, it's like, I can think of things in my life that like happened once when I was young, and then I get older and it's like, oh, it happens again. It's like, oh, if I can seen this before.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, wait a minute.
But man,
did you have stuff you wanted to talk about?
There's something fun that I think I could bring up. It kind of
about the
a little different, but
okay.
Yeah, so I'll take us on a quick little thing here. Just more like
pulling in a speculation station.
It's not speculation station.
All
it's
right.
more
triangulation station.
You ever hear saying a phrase or saying an idiom or maxim or aphorism? I did a lot of these, but they're kind of annoying or they don't even sound like they fit. Like, okay, why is that even used?
Yes, it's like, why are we even saying this?
Yeah,
that's pretty much.
So I basically came up with a ranking to kind of talk about the top 20 words, or just not from modern day, or just from modern day. They don't even fit. Yeah, so. And a word for this episode could be malapropism. So like
malapropism.
Yeah, when a person says a phrase or something and they they say something wrong.
You're malappropriating.
Exactly,
something.
malapropism. Yeah. So it's like, it's like you can bring horse to water, but you can't make him stink. Or you just they misquote some like proverb or maxim, right? So I was just, for a reason I was thinking this. So I'm like, okay, the whole thing is I wanted a top 20 dumbest, worst idioms, aphorisms, maxims of all time, and so work our way down. So number 20, curiosity killed the cat.
That I actually believe.
And I'll just read the little notes here. So, a natural science PSA with the emotional range of a wet paper bag. Yes, curiosity sometimes backfires, but so does crossing the street. We don't chant jaywalking flatten the pedestrian.
Yeah.
So, but beggars can't be choosers. Translation, you're poor, hush up. A maxim that weaponizes scarcity and manages to punch downward in rhyme.
It sounds like little Caleb wrote this.
Yeah, it is what it is. This is an annoying one, but it fits. But I can get to where it can be kind of annoying to hear. It is what it is, but sometimes I feel like that still sums it up.
Sometimes it's
17. There's more than one way to skin a cat.
Hey, there is.
It really doesn't make sense. I don't know at what point that even came about. I like saying it still, though. I still have fun saying it.
I think that it's because there's technically. Like, who the fuck skins
one
cats?
Way to skin a cat.
But there's more than one way to do it.
Exactly. So that's kind of the thing. You can do it like, there's no, whereas it's like skinning a deer, there's like one way to skin a deer. Or there's like,
yeah.
You know what I mean? Does that make sense?
There's an accepted best
Like,
way to do this. But for
yes.
cats, you're doing it for fun, so you can
Yes.
do it however you want. You're
That's
sticking
kinda
them in your freezer.
That's kind of how I
side quest.
That's kind of how I
It's a side
interpret.
quest,
There's more than
yeah.
one way to skin a cat. It's because it's like it's an undocumented science.
Yeah.
Cat skinning.
We all acknowledge that there's
It happens.
more than one way to skin
It
a
pops
cat.
up in your neighborhood every once in a while.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, no, that legitimately popped up, dude. I legit
skin cat.
I think there was somebody in our neighborhood for a
Skinning
period
cats?
of time. No, they were doing it 100%, dude.
You found cats
No, I did not. Other people did find cats in the neighborhood
without their skin.
Yes,
Wild.
and there was the creepiest fucking part.
The fuck year was this?
Dude, this was you were in Balk Springs.
For it to be saying
Okay.
shows that it was
Debbie
accepted
was
and
alive.
common enough for people to
Debbie
be like, oh,
was
those
still
guys are
living,
skinning
so this
cats.
Pre-17.
So yes, Debbie was still alive. So was Grandma, because I mean this shit they passed away the same year.
Yeah.
But either way, there was somebody.
Fuck it. YOLO.
These cats had been popping up skinned around the neighborhood in the area. People were like, "Yo, this is like." There had been
that
a lot
cat
of stray-
Frankie came over here.
Dude, no, for a period of time, there was a lot of strays and a lot of just random cats.
I've
running
never
around.
seen
Dude,
a skinned
so
animal.
they popped
I
up.
mean, outside of a
They
movie.
popped up, right? So here's the creepy fucking part. Apparently, one night there was somebody who posted on like one of the neighborhood sites, and they had fucking stumbled across some dude as they were like on an evening walk. That they described as like, bro, the description of this dude was creepy as fuck. It was just I want to say they said that he had like a fucking knife in his hand. He had something that they weren't sure, but they said it looked like he had like a fucking knife in his hand. It was like standing.
He was like, "What's that bag?" It's only cats.
Bro, I don't want to sit here and,
cats.
I don't want to make up a fucking story, but the interaction was something like where I think they even said something to him, and the dude said something back, but it was like very kind of like
just out here shaving
dude.
pussies.
Well, there's more than one way to skin a cat.
Yes, but dude, that shit, I don't know. And now all of a sudden there's a serial killer in Austin, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
So that dude could have lived in my neighborhood for a while.
Well, number 17, there's more than one way to skin a cat.
Fuck, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's number 16. The proof is in the pudding. Yeah, I've never even really understood that. So
Well, I mean, it's
originally,
simple. Think about it.
The proof of the pudding's in the eating, which almost makes sense.
Is that pudding good?
Yeah. Is this some good pudding? That pudding hit like.
For number 15, don't look a gift horse in the mouth.
That's what you want to know.
Find advice if you routinely receive equine presents and travel back to an age when inspecting teeth equal Craigslist buyer protection. But it make the point if it makes sense. Easiest pie. Pie crust is literally the part of baking. See, I never totally got easy as pie, but I just accepted it.
I think that's the whole point
Yeah.
of easy as pie is that it's like
all of these sayings are easy as pie.
I think the point of easy as pie is
They
being
are.
like
They're not.
it's like motherfucker, you got a job. In
All of this boils down to just shut the fuck up.
So 13 good things come to those who wait. Yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
12 a watched pot never boils.
That's
I don't even know if I've
100%
heard
true.
this one.
That's
But
100% true.
when he's just
sits
sitting there waiting for it to boil.
waiting for something to happen.
So like
It's never gonna happen. Just
That's
walk
a good
away,
one though.
do
That's
something
a
else.
a hard boiled egg.
Money can't buy happiness. That's
well.
true though. But it is an annoying thing.
I would
Money
like
buys
to.
freedom.
I would actually.
Money buys
I would
freedom.
actually
Freedom is
enjoy
happiness.
testing that hypothesis at some point in my life.
Yeah.
To see. So if anybody would like to bestow upon me a ridiculous amount of money,
I'll let you know.
so I could see
for science.
If it could, just
For science.
you
I would
know.
like
That is
to
the
see
thing.
if it's
money,
possible.
money buys freedom, and
Yeah.
freedom is happiness.
Freedom is happiness.
Yes.
So yeah,
Exactly.
So either way, like somebody let me borrow a bunch of money and I'll get
We'll
back
get
to you.
back to Number 10, dance like nobody's
Yeah,
watching.
fuck that.
It is funny though, but post smartphones, everybody is watching. through 4K
Don't
lens
ever
and it's
dance
forever
anywhere.
on TikTok.
Yeah, exactly.
Number 9, shoot for the moon. Even if you miss, you'll land among the stars. No, you'll drift in a hard vacuum until thermal death of the universe. Okay. 8, the customer's always right.
Fuck that.
Yeah, that.
Sometimes customers are schizophrenic and they think you're Dean Martin cutting their grass. I'm not Dean Martin, Carol. Go inside.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it. But no, I agree.
Okay,
no,
this is broken. I gotta fix it.
This is broke because if it ain't broke, don't fix it. But it might be annoying. See, everything happens for a reason. Yeah, no, that's fine. Let's see, boys will be boys. I don't think anyone says this much at all anymore. Maybe moms.
Men will be misogynists.
It's a way for them.
Yeah,
to shit
they're
on
getting
men,
away.
like,
Yeah, this is dying with wokeness.
Number 4.
What doesn't kill you makes
true.
you stronger, but it's just true.
Definitely true.
Even if people are just too weak to understand.
Tell that to people
Live every
with
day as if it were your
pain.
last. I guess this ranking, the more true they become. Let's see, 2, pull yourself up by your bootstraps.
That is true. You can't do that.
Let's see, a 19th century
You
joke
technically
about
can't do
impossible
it.
self-levitation. Some of it became serious advice. Oh, let's see.
Yeah, that
number
sounds
1
like the type of people that can't answer the question, if you didn't eat breakfast yesterday, how would you feel?
Yeah. But number 1, even though I agree this is how I live my life, the reality of the world is I don't think this is so true the way society and people are. Sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me. Because everyone is literally, the point is like, number 1 with the bullet for wrongness for social media era. So, Twitter and all the BS, whether they are or not, they are lit words from strangers across the globe that are letting affect them where they really shouldn't. And that's...
Yeah.
Do you know why? So, like, I don't remember where it was that I heard it, but where they talk about psychological trauma, and stuff like that. And so, if, like, it may be hard to believe, but there are people that is the highest level of psychological trauma that they've received in their lives.
Oh, just an insult?
Somebody insulting them on the internet. Where it was like, you think of things that you've been through in your life that you've had to overcome and stuff like that.
Where they don't have any actual pain or suffering. But this is the epitome of the worst pain and suffering that they've had.
Exactly. And so the thing about it, though, is that the brain does not differentiate trauma. So that person that reads a comment on the internet that fucking goes into a fucking hole, it's like, as much as it fucking pains me to say it, it's like one of those things, if that's the highest level of trauma they've ever experienced, it's no different than a Marine riding through fucking Ramadi in 2006 and getting hit by an IED, because that's the highest level of trauma he ever experienced in his life. But this person on the other end of the spectrum is like, and so the brain does not differentiate trauma.
Yeah.
And that when somebody, and I'm guilty of it myself, where it's like you look at somebody, it's like, motherfucker, I've done this and this and this and whatever.
Yeah.
I've been through this. Like, why the fuck can't you get over that?
Yeah.
And it's like, but
because for them that experience is the same weight of this.
It's the worst thing that's
but
ever
that's
happened
interesting
to them.
because it all for me falls under the umbrella of something I actually had notes on and stuff we've talked about before. I'm pretty sure, psychological conditioning, the way our brains function, and this is just an area of life and existence where you can see that manifested, but it's the same school of thought for the highest high and low. So no matter what, like you could, whatever your situation is now, you could say, if ideally you say I'm a millionaire, I have all these things. 6 months from now, you could have all those things in the same stresses. You'll end up feeling the same stress about other things.
Yes.
You'll end up feeling the same level of happiness.
No,
you're not. So it's psychological conditioning. It's the same thing. To where it's like there's this. the way your brain works.
Like moving
there was the African American philosopher from the early 90s that was he hypothesized more money, more problems. Something like that.
Exactly.
It's one of those things. You don't know what you don't know.
And it comes down to like people, we're designed to, if you were to say on a 1 to 10 scale of happiness, to like be around a 6 or 7, perfect, right? Because extremely happy, you can't live in a state where you're extremely elated at a 10. So 5, 6 to 7, maybe 6, maybe even closer to the average, a little above.
You want to be to 4 to 6 range.
Yeah,
4 to 6 range is like
6.5 maybe is like, so no matter what, you could have a windfall, things could go through whatever situation, or you could have a downfall where you suddenly everything falls through. But if you live at a 4 to 6 existence range, and the way you feel about things is going to come back to, you're trying to exist in the like 6 to 7 range, and that whole mindset, just the way our brain works, like with suffering, like if the worst pain you've ever had is an insult, then you're gonna respond. You're gonna feel is like you said, someone who's been to war, because that's just the way we are.
Like you will have the same emotional scars, like whatever.
And for whatever it's worth, I think that's an amazing, beautiful thing in the way we're designed, like in intelligent design. You know what I believe? Because I think it's God, like we're designed, no matter what situations, to exist in like a perfect baseline, no matter what. You can't live in a state of extreme high or extreme low, because no matter what situation, people just average out. Even in those scenarios, they'll feel exactly the same. And that's in understanding. Yeah. So, and that's the sad thing is people not. I don't even know if you can realize that even if they get everything in life that they want, they're not going to feel different.
Well, that's what
they're not going to really feel different.
What ask
you're going to feel the same way you do even if you have everything, because you can find different ways to feel. Whatever you're feeling now.
Because you're going to fear, even if you get a lot of money, you're going to be, then your next fear is that you're going to start losing that money. Or that something's going to happen.
And whatever the feelings, whatever stresses, those just still exist in just a different package.
In order to say, some people is like, one people saying, so many people want to be famous. So many people want to get a bunch of money. No, we do not. Stop watching it.
Not us.
That's why I wore this pride shirt.
Yeah. No, but it's like so many
Shout
people
out Dak Prescott.
So many people want.
I respect that.
So many people want fame and things like that. And it's like, but with a lot of that, what comes with it is that it's like you miss out on all this other time you get with people. It's like all of these things you want money and fame and, popularity for. It's like you want them to enhance what you already have. So much of these things you want are to enhance what you already have in life. And a lot of times what we don't think about is the fact that it's like, I'm going to go try and get these other things to enhance what I have. But if I lose one of these things I have, I no longer necessarily have as much reason to go enhance my life because I lost something that I was doing it for.
Well, exactly.
So like your family member, like, I want to give a better life to my mom and dad or my brother or this and that. It's like, or my daughter, my wife. And then it's like, you go to do that or whatever. And in some ways in trying to do that, you're going to, become a pilot and then you crash a fucking plane down.
Yeah. Or else you could do all those things and you give them everything you want. And then you'll be trying to connect with them and do all these things that you didn't need to catch the moon to spend time with them.
Yes.
You're going to give them everything's work out, and you're going to go through exercises just trying to connect and have these experiences that you can have right now. Because in any situation you are, is literally living in the moment and appreciating what you have, regardless of circumstances.
Yes. Well, what does it profit a man to lose or to gain the world?
Forfeit his soul. Exactly.
And it's one of those things where it's like,
and
nobody gets out of the shit alive.
And people, it saddens me that the whole idea of the paper chase, or just things like people chasing money. It's like, I understand, yes, you want to make money because you want to have freedom. You want to be stress-free.
you
You
want
want to
that
have your
freedom.
bills paid. You want, but you're to like have that be your mindset and goal that defines what you're doing is chase. Like you're literally always gonna be chasing. You're never gonna be sitting still and happy.
You'll never
the
be
paper chase
satiated.
never
You'll never
ends.
Because
You're sitting and
as
you're
you
literally
come up,
chasing, but you
as
can
you're-
actually
No, sorry. I'm sorry. I kind of interrupted. As you're coming up with people who are doing the same. You're in those circles, and you see that Jim has a little bit more in his 401k. Jim invested a little better, and he has a little bit. And so,
and then the competition.
so then that pushes you to
begins-
think that you have
comes
to
into
do this
play.
and you have to do that. When if you zoom out, you're like, buddy, you got like fucking, almost $1 million. You got 900,000, whatever. It's like, you're
Yes.
good. You don't need that. Look at how many people that just barely have this. It's
Yeah,
like, you're fine.
that's great. Like,
it's like,
what
but
do you
in
do
your
that
realm
you
or
enjoy?
people-
Like,
yeah, exactly.
Do you actually have a hobby?
Yeah, and
do
I
you
think-
even understand what a hobby is? And the
Yeah.
thing with AI is, briefly speaking back, the reason I was even looking into psychological conditioning because a lot of people in certain like Derry Amadei from Anthropic, or a lot of them, they talk about if society gets to a point to where so much is automated, to where literally there's people, and there's this a transitional period, right? And so if anything, we're potentially living at the beginning of a transitional period where AI
We've
starts
been our entire life.
No,
our entire life has been a fucking
Chris,
transitional
hold
period.
on. No, let me tell you this because I did this whole. I was running and I was I made audio notes. And I'm glad you reminded me because I found the end of the yang here. We talked about living in the sweet spot our whole lives, right?
Yeah,
we did.
the
I think
literal
the other
golden
side of the sweet spot is that we might potentially also be living through
The bitter
a
spot?
transition where everything is automated and people have sat there and built careers. They put their identity into their work, and all of a sudden that work can be automated. And they're literally like a 40, 50-year-old guy who their whole life has been the value of what they do is something that a freaking algorithm can do like that. And that's psychologically damaging. That's not, and that's what certain AI people talk about. It's like that right there, what that's going to do to people and family, where they've literally been defined by the job. They don't have hobbies.
They work
They don't
years
have
to get
passions.
to
They
these
do all this
spots.
stuff, and that's all of a sudden automated. That's, who knows what that's going to look like, but I think that's kind of where at the beginning of that. And that's why I was looking at psychological conditioning with some earlier, is because again, it's a transitional period. There's going to be people, unfortunately, where you're feeling the brunt of technological advancement, and you might get automated away. And if you actually didn't have a hobby or a passion or something that you cared about outside of work, you're going to probably have a hard time finding value in life.
Yes.
And that's what, but it's this period being so transitional, because I'll sit there and people think about, their kids and future generations with psychological conditioning. We get through this period, our kids are growing up in a world where they're not defined by work. Like my daughter, she's not going to grow up in a world where she's defined by work. If anything, she's going to grow up and is growing up in a world probably where education, ideally, in my mind, now is playing this out. I would think it's going to be even more robust, where once they get to a certain age, they can actually start taking electives at an incredibly young age.
So,
you know what I mean? And
I feel like that's
going to be the expansion of humanity in a good way.
Hopefully. More than likely.
And again, this is
an
ideal optimist percent. I could easily
agree.
go the other way.
I'm not
So
trying to
I'm just trying to say, in this scenario, and I could paint a scenario I think is equally likely where it's ugly and not that.
No,
but this is just talking it out.
I'm not about to just go off and then be like, oh, okay, cool. I see you did A, so I'm gonna apply X and destroy your argument.
There's no argument here. I'm just playing out it's a thought experiment.
Yeah, and some of it, the way, like, while I agree, and I think that it's like, the one thing along the way that's going to come with all this, that's going to be the difficulty of the future generation, is like more than likely probably dealing with all the distractions. What's the truth? And then what I think dealing with all the distractions is going to be important. There's going to be we've already grown up with a shitload of distractions.
Oh, yeah.
And with all of this new knowledge and understanding that certain people might get on things, or they might also feel like, well, why should I waste my time doing this when I can just da-da-da? And so it's like they can be easily distracted.
A lot of people are just going to continue to be dumb and get dumber.
Exactly.
And only the people... I feel like it's the same thing if... You could have looked up how to do that on YouTube and you didn't.
Yes.
So there's going to be the people that are actually wanting to be smarter, and there's the people that are going to fall into a worse state of being because of how automated things are. And they're going to be an ugly version of humanity.
Mm-hmm.
An even uglier version of it. And it's sad.
No, I mean, it really is. And again, though, I mean, it's, you know...
It is what it is.
No, it is funny, though. I have, like, not long, like, since going on the road trip, going there and back, and then just going around places, it's like, for once in my life, I really am trying to picture, okay, what does it look like 10, 15 years down the road? What does it look like driving to another state? Is that going to be almost altogether wiped out because we're going to potentially have better train travel? Are we eventually going to start seeking that out with bullet trains and stuff?
I don't think so. I think they'll just you would have you get a ride there, but it would be some car to where people will be able to travel easily in a robo-taxi type thing, to where they'll still use freeways interchangeably, but it'll just be like,
okay,
in my mind,
that's travel anymore.
That's one thing. It's like another thing is that, like,
they'll be able to, but they won't, because why would they?
Well, I was gonna say another thing is that it's like just popping into my mind as I'm driving is like, what are these rural areas eventually gonna look like? Like, you start to see more and more of them dwindle. There is still a lot of rural area across the United States. Like,
a majority of it is. I mean, it is interesting. 10, 15 years, I am curious.
That's what I'm saying, because it's like, be realistic. We think about things. It's like, think of these data centers and stuff.
But I do think in my mind that's overplayed. In my mind that people overestimate it. Like, there's still going to be a lot of woods and trees and shit, but there's going to be places people don't want to live because it's not like, in my mind. But the city sprawls out. And so that keeps sprawling. But then in my mind, there's always these pockets of, there's a lot of crap that no one lives there. And,
but sometimes that crap where no one lives has a bigger effect. It's not just crap where no one lives. It's like, and I'm not to be a tree hugger or try and be like somebody who's worried about people stacking rocks in a river. Like, bugs live here.
We're trying to fish, buddy.
Exactly. It's like, I'm not trying to, but I do understand, too, that, like, some of these, like I said, some of these places that we're building, again, just hypothesizing, thinking, what does the future look like 10, 15, 20 years from now? Going to grocery stores. How much longer are grocery stores even going to be something you go into and walk into and buy something? Think about back in the day. It was like whenever you would go pay for a check somewhere, you could pay for fucking checks at places. When I worked at Palm Beach Tan as a, like, CSR, and I would clean the fucking place, they would, that you could pay by check, and they would have to pull out. They would pull out the little check machine.
Oh yeah.
And you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
People nowadays have no idea what the little.
Yeah.
I can
technology.
Nobody has.
Things change.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah.
So my point is that it's like, I'm sure at that time people thought, well, how else you gonna process a check? You gonna take a picture?
Yeah.
I
just think about the world my daughter's not even 2 yet. Growing and all the things we're gonna talk about we did, and how she's gonna be like, that's crazy.
Yes.
And that's
what I'm.
It's for me. I think it's part of the beauty of existing.
I feel like
living through this all is just. I don't even know.
I feel like we're at a point where, like you said, it's like, that's crazy, because we looked at our parents and we're like, y'all did that, that's crazy. But I feel like the rate at which that gets boosted each year, exactly. The rate that it gets fucking boosted is just going to be like, what the fuck?
I almost think we might be living people voice that's crazy, but we're the curve to where we might be living at the craziest of crazy.
Yes. Potentially.
Change. Yeah.
And I was going to say before, there was one thing I saw somebody, And there was different opinions, and people had some good. It's funny how if you actually scroll comment sections, if you find a video on YouTube or Instagram you like, I was just about to say there are people on some of these. There are people who actually have some really good insight on some of these like videos that will like put some comment in there that it's like, yo, this dude's not just talking shit out of his ass. He obviously
I bet
likes
they
this.
have a whole following and online presence based on their comments.
May not, honestly.
Yeah. And so
like sometimes just
a random
motherfuckers like
but
Matthew 1, 2, 3, 4.
But there was one dude there was a video I saw, and they were saying like the reverse. They said the reverse.
Cowgirl?
No, it was like the reverse. What was it?
Sounds
the reverse progression or something like that of CGI should be studied, is what he was saying, because he showed a video that like Sony did or something back in the day, where it like made it was this CGI thing or Android or something, was like made this little robot thing that was real thin, and then all of a sudden it like puffed out like a feather, and it was this like it was this fucking crazy CGI, like it looked badass to this day. You look at it and you're like, damn, this is badass. But the thing is that like people in there were commenting because it looks like shit that they're not even doing today. It looks better than shit you're seeing.
Oh,
and
yeah.
People were commenting trying to say that, like, you know, the guy was saying that it's like, yo, we were doing this in the early 2000s. Shouldn't we have
How
shit?
far forward do you go?
Shouldn't we have shit way better than this? Like, why is it that CGI is dog shit compared to what this is? And this was like, we thought this was the beginning and we were going to get better, right? And some of the comments, there was a guy in the comments that was talking about like studios and stuff. He was like, we could still have CGI like this. We could have this shit. He was saying, but like studios, he was saying, I think don't want to either pay certain people or it's like they don't want to spend the time to create this shit.
Yeah.
Like to create really badass CGI stuff.
I think what you were probably seeing was an amalgamation.
But he had like 4,000 likes on his comment.
Yeah, no.
At that point,
I believe that totally.
When you say that, it was like, I feel like at that point you were seeing an amalgamation of like, because you're pretty much at the pinnacle of
CGI capability.
Well, not CGI, but like animation technology. You talk about like Disney movies, people like physically drawing shit frame by frame, and then you add into that the CGI element, and you're like melding that where it's like you're coming to the peak of like the animation and the physical capability of what like animators are able to do. From like you look at like an arc from like the 1930s when they did Snow White, all the way up to like the 90s when they're doing Aladdin.
I think
it's coming analogy. Up, and then you're also at the same time coming in with the CGI stuff. I've heard that a lot of the reason that you don't see today the things that we saw when we were younger is because of that. The animators peaked in the 90s, like the people that were physically drawing the shit and had the capability to physically
they were
animate
doing
the shit.
Trading with it is better quality than the shit that their
because they had the capability to animate it physically, and then
they were
use these tools
better with these tools.
Use these tools to improve it, and then now it's like, and so what's happened now is that, you know, you've reached this point, they've kind of passed the torch, and it's like these people drew their entire lives, and then somewhere around here they got, you know, exposed to using, you know, computer tools, whatever, and it peaks somewhere around here, but then somewhere right around here people no longer draw, and they're only using the computers.
Totally a factor.
And so it's like,
but also what, to kind of go along with what that guy was saying in that comment, I feel like another analogy that might make it make sense would be to think, okay, however long ago you saw this demo of it, CGI, that was phenomenal, and you wonder, why is that not what we see now? Imagine that's just a demo of the most badass car in the world.
Yeah.
That they spend all this money into. They're not going to sit there and make movies where they spend that much money to put all these badass cars
like
and they're doing it. They're like, no, I can sit there.
For the
I can sit
PlayStation 2.
there and put a cheaper car and it still served the same purpose because I'm not going to put all the resources and waste that much money.
You think about
you will come see this movie if I use this cheaper product.
You think about console launch videos when we were kids,
Yeah.
where it was like it would show these, and it was
That's
like how
part
old,
of the
how
reason
old,
why, you know?
how old were we before we realized when they were showing all of these, like game trailers and stuff? How old were we before we realized not actual gameplay footage, that it was like theatrical, like in-game shit, where it was like in-game trailers. The graphics looked amazing, but it's like
keyboard. I'll do it. I can go to Instagram.
Yeah.
You can give me the mouse and stuff. I can do it, so you don't have to fuck with it. Just go to.
Show it on the screen. There we go.
Yeah, is it on the screen?
Yeah, and then if you go right there,
I
have Instagram open. Yep.
Yeah, I see that.
Let me just rush through real quick.
See if there's a.
Okay, yeah, so here's the video, actually. It was backward, what I was talking about. I found it.
Yeah, it
But
just,
here's,
it just shows when that's the cost of doing that isn't what
right here. It was a good year for everything. Cars 2. Let's see. There's one of these dudes. This might have been him. CGI hasn't gotten worse. The people at the top of the film industry have gotten greedier. He said they're not giving artists enough time to produce stunning results like they used to. He said they've gotten by with, quote, good enough and sloppy storytelling. If they gave, quote, more artists more time, we would see CGI like this significantly more often. Again, 7,000 likes.
Spot on.
So
it all comes down to money.
Exactly.
How much does it cost to produce this?
Yeah. And so it's just kind of interesting where it's like, it fucking sucks. So then it's like, then what's the point of so much of this if it comes down to just,
again, that's an interesting thing about the time we live in, because with AI, true, actual, visionary, interesting, cool shit that's high quality is going to rise to the top, and it's actually going to be cool because there's artists that are going to be able to make stuff, and actually we'll get to see really cool stuff. That's just an upside. Outside of job displacement, outside of industries changing, outside of all that stuff.
Yeah.
Because in my mind, I can sit every good thing. It's the dual scenario where there's that. Oh, that's awesome. Oh, there's X amount of people out of job or X amount of things. But again, this and everywhere I live, I try to live my life just looking at the positive, because what else can we do?
Oh yeah,
not to ignore the negative.
Yeah,
and not to try and do your best to balance it
too. Because I mean, so much of the time though, it is like, I will say that, and this isn't, but I'm saying I know that this happens as a common occurrence. Like you were, oh shit,
you're good.
Okay. Where sometimes it's like you commonly say that, like you're trying to look at you always want to look at the best thing. You don't want to look at the worst outcome. And I'm not, like, I understand that, but I think that eventually, yes. And I see that, but I'm very much a glass half full person, but I notice that the side effects of glass half full sometimes mean that you ignore the elephant in the room in a way.
But I'm saying,
and you don't, because you're
very mindful not to do that at the same time.
Exactly. It's like important. Yeah, and realizing that, okay, so what are we doing in some of these senses? Like, well, okay, we've created this technology, and that's the thing. If we had this technology in 2009, shouldn't it be to the point where we streamline the process to where doesn't take as much time on the artist, to where it doesn't.
That's where some of the argument doesn't totally hold up, but it does enough. It does enough to the point that that dollars and cents are driving decisions that are being made.
Exactly. So here, we're pulling away from Speculation Station on that topic. This was cool. I thought you would like this. I thought you, out of all people, really like this.
Well, I love it because this is just an easy way to try and describe thing. Alexa, turn on cave lights.
Well, I was going to say what I'm about to show you right here.
Yeah, the bell curve.
Have you seen this?
Yeah, and I watched it. That's what I was about to say, because what you're about to show here is when I've talked about looking at life through the eyes of a bell curve and stuff. Like, describing,
I remember I sent it to you
verbally describing these to somebody, they can sit there and hear what I'm saying. But this visual representation does it in a very elegant, simple to see way that it's so much better than me trying the way I probably talked about it in the past. You know, like, oh, statistically, the odds of this happening, this, and there's outliers. Yes. But it's like, okay, I hear all these words, that makes sense. But then just to see it in action in such a simple way, it's a powerful thing.
Yeah, so here's a visual representation
of the bell curve.
This little machine shows how random chaos creates perfect patterns, and why the world isn't as unpredictable as you think. When I flip it, watch closely. This is a Galton board, and every ball bounces randomly, left or right. Total chaos. That? But the outcome is anything but random. Boom, the bell curve. It shows up everywhere. Stock market returns, casino odds, test scores, human genetics. As well, each bounce of the balls is random. The pattern is guaranteed every time. This is how the world works. Randomness, repeated enough times, becomes predictable. Like me, showing up in your feed every single time. You might
randomness repeated enough times becomes predictable.
Yeah, in school I've learned
each ball hits a series of pegs and it randomly bounces left to right, like flipping a coin over and over. Most of the balls end up in the middle because there are more ways to get there. That's why it makes this curve. It seems like magic, but it's actually just math. So in the end, randomness isn't a choice. It's just a pattern waiting to happen. Still don't think it's random? Watch it again. This little machine shows how random chaos.
I want to get one.
So find the middle. No, it is really cool though. Just that how
a good representation of life.
Yeah, and it's like, and like you said too, it's like randomness can kind of eventually become predictable in the sense that, like, okay, we look at a lot of, COVID. I think was a perfect. I think COVID. Number one was one of the biggest litmus tests ever. And like me and Caleb were one that talked about this, and Caleb I have to credit him for being like saying that.
Your brother or my nephew?
Caleb, my brother, was saying that what's it called was the litmus test, COVID. But it's like, I think that especially something like that was, I mean, dude, the things that were learned by like marketing companies and media and like just the consumer data that they got from COVID was insane. It literally recharged the trading card hobby, Pokemon card, basketball, football, baseball. The trading card hobby skyrocketed. The collectible hobby skyrocketed.
No, the job, my last job they had, the peak COVID years, they had banner years. In my job before that, with the eyewear, Essilor and stuff, they had bonkers years of eyewear. So bonkers to where, like, I got a bonus from that job that was almost like half of a year's salary.
Insane.
When you look at how much overhead they saved. Like, look at how much overhead they saved.
But not even that, how much money they made. Like, how much
but I'm saying start at, like, how much they saved just from not having to pay overhead for people in the office. And then go from there.
Yeah.
Here's this video, though, Chris, because you didn't get to hear it, but what we were watching.
Perfect patterns, and why the world isn't as unpredictable as you think. When I flip it, watch closely. This is a Galton board, and every ball bounces randomly, left or right. Total chaos. But the outcome is anything but random. Boom, the bell curve. It shows up everywhere. Stock market returns, casino odds, test scores, human genetics. Because while each bounce of the balls is random, the pattern is guaranteed every time. This is how the world works. Randomness, repeated enough times, becomes predictable. Like me, showing up in your feed every single time. You might be wondering how this works. Each ball hits a series of pegs and it randomly bounces left or right, like flipping a coin over and over. Most of the balls end up in the middle because there are more ways to get there. That's why it makes this curve. It seems like magic, but it's actually just math. So in the end, randomness isn't a choice. It's just a pattern waiting to happen. Still don't think it's random? Watch it again.
There's more than one way to skin a cat.
Yep.
As he was saying, in the middle, it's like, there's more than one way to get to the middle. That's kind of the thing that was interesting. And so it's like, a lot of it too talks about, like, that calls back, for me, in a sense, to Zen. And because in Zen, they talk about, it's like, how the whole point of it is flowing with the river.
Trying
not to resist things that are happening in life.
Don't calm waters. What is it? Don't try to calm.
Yeah, they were saying that, like, that one is a koan about like trying to calm disturbed waters with a flat iron. It's like you're only going to agitate the water. But with it's like with this, it's like it goes hand in hand with kind of that Zen stuff, because it's it was saying that it's like finding the way that everything is kind of flowing and not resisting it, moving with it. And, it's like, I just kind of thought that was interesting.
I love it. I do. I does.
I think that was it. Yeah.
Pop. But yeah, it's probably good. Probably good to get that. Probably. Yeah, probably good to save anything else we got for next time.
All right. What do you got? What do you got? Go ahead.
Oh no, I'm just saying probably just like
you want to? I'm saying a recommendation. Yeah.
Yes. Let me think about this actually. Because I know I watched the movie. Okay, what did I watch recently? Okay, my recommendation is, and I don't know if you saw another little thing I made on Instagram. I guess you're there. You might as well go to it. There's a show called Murderbot.
Okay.
Which, at first I was watching it because it's sci-fi enough to where I felt like I gotta watch it to see, and I was kind of initially bored by it, but a few episodes in, I feel like I see actually what it's doing, at least for me, and I think this is a phenomenal, a really, really effing good show. And I made this show.
Okay,
I made this show because honestly, I feel like this whole show is an education or a perspective to have with how we should think about AI. Because regardless.
I watched your reel.
It's from the show.
Facebook.
It's from the show Murderbot, right?
I got you.
Where, So watch Murderbot.
Feelings.
I
think that the Preservation Ox team had been feeling like they were starting to know me. They thought that they were making connections with me. That I was becoming like them. But then I exploded Labibi's head.
So what happens is they have this security bot, and it literally just, there's somebody that had a gun, a bad guy, and it immediately just killed the bad guy, it blew up their head, and all the good guys were kind of like, the fuck? Well, okay, that's great that you saved us, but you just blew up their head.
Yeah,
like they could have. There's any number of ways we could have disarmed them. We could have set them that information. We need to talk to them and get out of them, but you didn't have to just obliterate them, right? Yeah. But it being an AI, whatever, it just saw it and eliminated it, and it didn't feel or think. It literally just, it's like why? It's like, and that's the whole scene. Is like all these people are traumatized because they've been hanging out with them. Old naked looking dude, right? They've been hanging out. They talking to
the way
him.
This guy thinks.
They've been
like, there's the problem. What?
Yeah, no, but it's like with AI, people sit there and they'll chat with it and do all these things. They might start to think over time, oh, I'm talking on ChatGPT. It seems human. Okay, I think AI is cool.
Developing
it seems very
a
human.
rapport.
It's not human.
Yeah.
It's not human. And this is an example of saying, regardless of how well it starts to act and seem human, in a split second, it can make a decision that's totally not anything that you as a human would ever make. And that's kind of, the show was like, I realized that a few episodes in, it's really doing a good job of teaching that lesson. Murderbot is good stuff.
Murderbot.
And it's actually a funny show. It's like a sitcom almost. It's weird. It's really a hybrid type show. It's got one of the Skarsgårds in it, so it's cool.
Old Skarsgård.
All right, so my rec is Murderbot. Next up.
I kind of have a couple of things floating around in my head, and I'm trying to think of which one I maybe want to say.
Chris, do you have one?
I might just talk.
My recommendation is to listen if somebody gives you a recommendation that you should check it out. Yeah, no, I'm mailing it in. So watch Murder. My recommendation is also to piggyback and watch
Murderbot.
Dude, you'll enjoy it. And honestly, the pacing is great because they're like 20 minutes. They're like 22 minutes long. So it's a show where them doing it that way is like, okay, shit. It's literally just an event happens, and you're like the next episode.
So he just fucking waxes them, and they're all just like wiping brains up.
Yeah.
And like, what the fuck happened? It's
Yeah,
like he solved a problem.
Yeah.
Like
he does a great job with it. You'll relate to Murderbot a lot. You probably want to be Murderbot for Halloween. Mikey Bot?
Yeah, she's laying
on my gun.
Maybe Lily's giving us a recommendation right there.
Recommendation: pull the strap on your ops.
Like sleep with the gun. Fuck a pillow. Sleep with the gun under your head.
Recommendation of the week. Again, it's funny. Fuck it. I'll just say
this guy is stressing out about it.
It's not that I'm stressing, but I actually think I had something good to say.
You always have something good to say.
And I'm like, yeah, fuck it.
You want to take a break and come back with your rec?
No.
We can.
No, that's fine.
That might be your first time.
No.
You want to take your break and come back with the final rec?
No.
I'm not even joking.
Basing. No, I'm kidding. My recommendation of the week would be to not use the self-checkout.
Really?
Go use a human. Wait on the human. Don't use the self-checkout.
Give somebody a paycheck a little more.
You know.
No, that's what I'm saying. You want to see in the world. Like, if you check out at the human checkout, like.
Well, and two, I was just, that's what I mean. I was like conflicted.
That's a good one.
Because in my head, I'm like going back and forth, and I'm like trying to think of a way of conveying the same message in a sense. And with that message comes the fact of like, just as you're out and about in your everyday life, it's so easy to just get sucked into the next thing you have to go do. Or the thing, and the next thing you have to go do, sometimes it's like it can be later that day, and then it turns into what I have to do tomorrow after you get to later that day. It's like you wake up, you're like, first thing I got to do is I got to go to work. And then after I get done with work, I got to go pick up dog food. And then I got to stop here and I got to grab some food for me. And then I got to do this. And then after you do those things, that moment becomes, okay, I got to wake up and now I got to go do, before I go to bed, I got to remember to make my food for tomorrow, and then, prep my meal for tomorrow. And then it's like, okay, shit, then you do that. And then you're like, okay, I got to remember to do this tomorrow once I wake up.
In the now.
And not just that. It's like what comes with that is that it's like, just look around and observe. It's like, some of what we were talking about. It's like so much of the time, and it's a callback to what I've talked about before, is that so much of the time, us, unfortunately, as human beings, it's like we should spend so much more time than we do on actually anticipating to an extent and thinking about what does this future look like? And am I just wasting my time and pissing in the wind? by, in a sense, like with some of these careers you talked about, how they're just absolutely obliterated, gone.
Yeah.
Because of AI, overnight, out of here, see you, don't need you. It's like people that have enough understanding of the data to input and what to say, and if it's on like secured shit that's not going to leak it to outside, you know, like on one of the secured AI platforms, Grok or something. Yeah. Something that's, you know, that's not going to store their information and leak it to the outside world. It's like people that are able to do those jobs are going to wipe out jobs that people have spent their entire lives, you know. And the thing is that history has shown us is that it's like,
get a hobby.
Everybody, well, not just get a hobby, but that like everything, they never tell you until like it's going to happen that it's happening. They're going to make you, like the real estate, the housing crash. That's fine. Buy a house and get your house. House is fine.
Matter of fact, everybody can have a house. You can't afford a house. We'll make sure you can afford a house.
October 17, 2024.
Get your house.
I know that feeling.
And then they get you a house. They do this. They do that. And then it's like, oh, yeah, fuck, sorry. Actually, this is really the reality of things.
Subprime mortgage crisis.
Here's actually the reality of things.
You're fired.
We thought,
get fucked.
We thought, you know, it's like this is the information.
You don't have value. You don't matter. You're just a number.
And you thought this was the future. You thought this is what the world looked like. And you were like,
you put all of your worth and value into this, which is just brushed away.
Yes. And so with my point, that's why I was saying about why I was so conflicted with my recommendation. But that's why it comes back to don't use the self-checkout. Wait for a human. Go to human self-checkout. Like, go to a human checkout. Don't go to a self-checkout because it's like, you know, number one, you got to wait for somebody to come around and check your fucking ID in the first place when you're buying beer. So
that's very true.
You might as well just give it to the person right there.
Well, and on top of it, too, where it's like, yeah, it's one of those things. You go use it, and then fucking you got to walk out the door. You got a motherfucker standing there wanting to see your receipt. It's like, motherfucker, I already did your job.
I just did somebody's job.
I did somebody's job without a fucking employee discount. Like, so get fucked.
I love it.
Like,
it's good stuff.
So and two, with all that being said, it's like with my point was saying everything about we go to one thing after another, like that's just how our brains are wired, and that's it's not only how our brains are wired, but it's how we have to be. In today's day and age, you don't have time for all this other shit. But unfortunately, I feel like we're reaching a point that we no longer have time to wait for more time, to do it later. We no longer have time to like a generation or now. No, we're the fucking generation that has to do it. It's not the next generation. If we don't take the time now to figure out how to, like you said, it's like almost get out of this, like what you were saying with Sela, of, you know, it's like she's not going to have to grow up being like work centered with her mindset and stuff like that. I want that to be the reality, but unfortunately, I don't think that's going to be what it's going to be. They're going to find a way to make humans be a slave to AI for corporations or something or some shit.
Somewhere or another.
I think that people, we have to now is the time to no longer keep just putting off and just saying, not my problem. It doesn't have anything to do with me. I'm too small.
Choose the human option.
I think now's the fucking time, like, where you just look around and really start trying to be critical about the world we're living in and the way we're just operating in the norm sense. Not in the, because the other sense can be bewildering and overwhelming in the geopolitical climate. Fuck that. Think about the everyday. What are you operating? How is your life every day? And think like, is this really like the fucking route we want to go down? Because so much of the time it just becomes the right. It's like, you know, next thing you know, you're scanning QR codes at the menu every time. It's like, I thought COVID ended 6 months ago. Why do I have to scan your fucking QR code?
The we all starts with the you. Just you in your own personal life.
There you go.
The we starts with the you, and you literally be that difference. You be the difference and live your life that different way.
The we starts with the you.
Yeah. Spend cash.
Why didn't you say that sooner?
I was waiting.
Support thrift stores.
Spend fucking cash.
Go to a thrift store. Buy at a secondhand store.
Go to places and
stop buying from fucking Target and Walmart. Go to fucking secondhand stores. Buy good shit there.
Yeah.
With that being said,
that's my recommendation for the week. Spend fucking cash money.
With that being
If
said,
you don't have cash, go get cash. Fuck these motherfuckers.
Go get cash and buy silver.
And be safe.